I bet you've never seen a protagonist like this before. Most protagonists play the fool to defeat the strong, but they still have to pay a price. They must make sacrifices. But our protagonist, Chunyi, is different. Having cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years, in all the realms of existence, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who can rival him. He can only compare his lifespan to the universe itself. Coincidentally, the system, in order to select a novice cultivator, to nurture into a cultivation powerhouse, and save the myriad realms from war and destruction, the system was on the verge of a mental breakdown. It thought it would take another 10,000 years to find someone, but after just a few complaints, it suddenly got a match. Let me see who's so lucky. He looks weak and fragile. But with the system's help, following the system's lead, you'll surely carve out a place for yourself in the myriad realms. The system felt a hint of unease. It quickly checked the list of powerhouses. No need to search, he's already at the top. Oh no. A Tao sovereign hiding in a minor world got selected. This is bad. I forcibly bound him. And he could obliterate me with a single finger. I need to make a quick escape. But with a single hand seal, I'm immobilized. The system, on the verge of tears, had no choice but to explain. It needed to bind a host. Find those legendary powerhouses in history and take them as disciples. These specific individuals would influence the course of history, but it's far beneath the Tao sovereign's concern. So, it begged to be released to find someone else, but the Tao sovereign replied, I never said I didn't want you. You're willing to be my tool, my host. Aren't you in a hurry to alter history and save the realms? Then lead the way. How will an invincible man like Chunyi take on disciples? He is Chunyi, the strongest Tao sovereign, whose lifespan rivals the universe itself. To repair history, he returns to 100,000 years ago. On a snowy mountain in the Yuanhuang realm, the 9th princess of the Xinyuan dynasty braves the storm. Exhausted, her legs give out, and she nearly collapses. Her guards catch her in time, but with her meridians shattered and her body poisoned, she has no strength left to flee. In this brief delay, the enemy soldiers catch up. These 12 shadow guards are all elite fighters. Without a miracle, today will be her end. Meanwhile, Chunyi, through time and space, arrives in the human emperor's territory. He asks where his first disciple is. Hearing the unreliable system can't pinpoint the location, he senses a faint spiritual energy fluctuation and rushes toward it. Back with Ji Qianfan. Under the relentless assault and humiliation of the shadow guards, her guards are at their limit. They can't hold on much longer. On the road to the afterlife, you'll have 2 loyal guards to accompany you. You won't be lonely. The shadow guards charge forward. This is truly the end. Is this it? Suddenly, a figure descends from the sky, landing heavily in the midst of the crowd. Facing the sudden appearance of a Taoist, the shadow guards hesitate. Found you. Whether you're a passerby or reinforcements, if you don't move, you'll be buried here today. I'll leave. Kill him. Who is he? With that, Ji Qianfan collapses into unconsciousness. As the invincible man in the world, when evildoers try to harm the disciple Chunyi has his eyes on, Chunyi naturally won't stand by and do nothing. To deal with such small fry, he casually picks up a small pebble from the roadside and flicks it lightly. With that, he clears out these seemingly formidable enemies. With the princess saved, her guards rush over to express their gratitude, only to see Chunyi holding their princess. Taoist, what are you doing? The guard suddenly realizes he can't move. I'm taking Ji Qianfan with me. With that, he soars into the sky. Who is he? He's terrifying. No one answers their questions, leaving only an endless skyline behind. Amazing! Having saved Ji Qianfan, Chunyi takes the first step toward recruiting future powerhouses as disciples, and the myriad realms, destined for destruction, begin to see a glimmer of hope for rebirth. If a sleeping beauty were handed to you, what would you do to her? The girl bathes in a wooden tub, the warm water cleansing her jade-like skin. Her butterfly-like eyelashes occasionally flutter, and any man faced with such a scene would find it hard to resist. But our protagonist, Chunyi, stares intently at the girl, his hands moving skillfully. A soul-stabilizing flower, a handful of phoenix-crying grass. The system can't comprehend the profundity of his actions, only seeing him as if he's cooking hot pot, tossing rare treasures into the mix. He explains that this is a medicinal bath, then tells the system to follow him and not disturb the girl's bath. With the task completed, He remembers he hasn't used the system's single draw reward yet. Now's the perfect time to use it. Surely, the system will give a newbie a guaranteed SSR, right? Golden Legend. It's purple. Not as good as gold. But system products are always top tier. Purple is still good. But Chunyi frowns slightly, seemingly dissatisfied with the result. As the system is about to retrieve the purple reward, a golden leg bursts through the system's interface. The system emits a wailing alarm as Chunyi forcibly snatches the SSR reward. Have you ever seen a player who forcibly steals the system's SSR? He is Chunyi, the strongest Dao sovereign, whose lifespan rivals the universe. Even the system kneels before his invincibility. Dissatisfied with the system's S2 draw, he hacks his way to find a 10,000-year ginseng. The system dares not complain, only pitifully begging Chunyi to not do it again. Please don't do this next time. But Chunyi didn't snatch the SSR for himself. Heavenly and earthly treasures are within his reach, and this golden legend just happens to be useful for his disciple. Of course, he needs to recruit a disciple first. Sensing Ji Qianfan is about to wake up, Chunyi quickly orders the system to fetch her some clothes. Meanwhile, Ji Qianfan wakes up in the tub. Just moments ago, she was being chased in the snow, and now she's naked in a tub? Ji Qianfan has many questions. Before she can sort out her thoughts, a voice from behind startles her. You're awake? Startled, she quickly retreats into the tub, unsure if this man is responsible for her current state. Chunyi ignores her wary gaze, simply telling her to get dressed and come out to talk. After all, undressing her is one thing, but dressing her would be improper. Have you ever seen a powerhouse who forces others to become his He is Ji Qianfan, the 9th princess of the Xianyuan dynasty, who grew up using the imperial seal to crack walnuts. Blessed with extraordinary talent, she was deeply cherished by her father, the emperor. But despite her disinterest in the throne, she still fell victim to familial betrayal. Her cultivation was completely destroyed, reducing her to a waste. Hold on. Ji Qianfan interrupts Qian Ye's serious explanation, saying that if he plans to use her to threaten the Xianyuan dynasty, he's got the wrong idea. The Xianyuan dynasty wouldn't want a waste like her. You're not a waste. Chunyi replies, I've already repaired your meridians and strengthened your body, even enhancing it several times over. He doesn't mention the last part out loud, as she'll discover these small favors on her own later. Right now, the priority is figuring out how to recruit her as a disciple. Your talent is still intact, and your strength can be rebuilt. Don't you want revenge? Only by aligning their interests can he make her let down her guard and cooperate willingly. Of course, I want revenge, but right now, I'm powerless. The girl immediately takes the bait. Chunyi quickly seizes the opportunity to make his offer. Then become my disciple. As he speaks, he releases his immense power, instantly overwhelming Ji Qianfan. Wow, even my father and the elders don't have such power. Chunyi quickly restrains his aura, remembering the system's warning not to force discipleship. But while Ji Qianfan is still stunned, he smoothly adds, I saved your life once, and now I'm offering you a second chance. If I wanted to harm you, I wouldn't have saved you. Ji Qianfan retorts, some evil cultivators refine their disciples' flesh and blood for their own use. To be honest, are you after my body? You're quite knowledgeable, aren't you? Chunyi smirks. If I wanted to refine you, I would have done it while you were unconscious. Why would I heal you? Ji Qianfan's face flushes red. Then she asks, then why did you choose me? Chunyi smiles and replies, I don't care about talent when choosing disciples. I care about fate. But I felt a connection with you, which is why I'm so interested. You can either return to your precarious life as the 9th princess, or follow me to cultivate and seek revenge. The choice is yours. Have you ever seen such a disciple recruitment tactic? As the strongest Dao sovereign in the myriad realms, recruiting disciples requires careful calculation. For example, their stats must be top tier, their potential limitless, and they must be able to defeat stronger opponents with ease. Their looks must also be stunning. How else can they help me show off? Their background must Being a princess of a great nation is the bare minimum. They must have suffered persecution and pursuit, or how else can I play the hero? Poor Ji Qianfan meets all these conditions, and in the future, she'll become the strongest in the human emperor's realm. For such a talent, Chunyi can't let her slip away. After some persuasion, Chunyi gives Ji Qianfan two choices: return to being a princess and live an easy life, or become his disciple and take control of her own destiny. My cultivation philosophy is about freedom and following one's heart. If you're unwilling, I won't force you. On the surface, it seems like he's giving her two options. But knowing she's the future human emperor, Chunyi is confident she won't pass up the chance to grow stronger. Sure enough, after considering her situation, Ji Qianfan kneels and formally becomes his disciple. She feels incredibly fortunate about her decision. Just 3 days after becoming his disciple, her cultivation, which had been destroyed, was fully restored, and her physical strength had improved significantly, all thanks to the Dao techniques Chen Yi casually taught her. Cultivating here is over 100 times faster than outside. The only odd thing is the system's resentful gaze, which is hard to decipher. Chen Yi is slightly surprised she recovered so quickly, but he doesn't show it. 3 days to reach the peak of the Foundation establishment realm? Not bad. Ji Qianfan is proud of her progress, but Chen Yi remains silent. 3 days to recover to the peak of the Foundation establishment realm? Not bad. Ji Qianfan is delighted with the progress she's made under Chen Yi's guidance. You'll definitely be able to condense a blue spirit sea. You might even have a chance at a purple spirit sea. Chen Yi flicks her forehead lightly. Who told you to condense a spirit sea now? A mere purple spirit sea? That's nothing to be proud of. Ji Qianfan is puzzled. Didn't he say he doesn't care about talent when recruiting disciples? Besides, before her meridians were destroyed, she only had a blue spirit sea. Why are the requirements higher after her reconstruction? Chen Yi finds her naivety amusing. She doesn't realize that her potential now far surpasses what she could have imagined before. With your talent, a blue spirit sea is beneath you. Even the purple spirit seas of those so-called geniuses are unworthy of your attention. As someone who's been reborn, you should aim higher. A golden spirit sea. That's what you should be aiming for. Ignoring her protests, Chen Yi glances at the system's next task and leaves. It's time to take you out for some real training. What kind of training? Ji Qianfan asks. The human emperor's trials. How does the strongest Dao sovereign in history train his disciples to ensure Ji Qianfan becomes the human emperor as recorded in history, and to complete the system? Chen Yi takes Ji Qianfan to Zhangyang City, where the human emperor's ruins are located. As Ji Qianfan points out, the so-called young geniuses passing by, Chen Yi doesn't even bother to look at them. The strongest junior of a righteous sect? Just a peak purple spirit sea? Not even close. His words leave Ji Qianfan speechless. A golden spirit sea is something only found in history books, a once-in-a-millennium occurrence. And you're saying a purple spirit sea, which is slightly inferior, isn't good enough? Your standards are too high. Ji Qianfan mutters under her breath, but when Chen Yi pinches her cheek, she immediately quiets down. At that moment, a nearby conversation catches their attention. Ji Qianfan sneaks a glance and sees her royal brother and the people who tried to kill her. They're discussing the Biwa sect, infamous for taking money for assassinations, but daring to target a royal family member, is something the third prince cannot let slide. Ji Qianfan can't help but want to intervene, but Chen Yi calmly stops her. Perhaps we should investigate quietly. The assassination organization was hired to kill you, but the ones who benefit the most from your death are your royal brothers. It's more important to find out who's behind this. Besides, with me here, no one in the myriad realms can harm a single hair on your head. Ji Qianfan is deeply moved. I trust you, master. Only I can bully my disciple. After all, Ji Qianfan's grateful smile freezes. Chen Yi notices her mood drop as someone suddenly approaches them. This person is the daughter of the Red Lotus Demon Lord, but her name isn't important. What matters is, she's taken an interest in Chen Yi. Relying on her seductive techniques, she tries to lure the handsome man into a night of passion. The surrounding crowd either watches intently or quietly distances themselves, afraid of falling under her spell. The demoness smirks at Chen Yi, expecting him to succumb to her charms. Scram, Chen Yi says coldly. I said scram. Do you understand? Her followers are furious. This Taoist is asking for trouble. He must want us to teach him a lesson. Before delivering him to Our Lady's bed, Ji Qianfan can't stand it anymore. She's never seen such a shameless group. Just as she's about to take action, Chen Yi stops her. Anger can be a driving force for cultivation, but solving small problems like this doesn't require anger. As he speaks, he casually flicks his finger, sending a wave of energy. In all my years, I've lived by one principle. Don't seek trouble, but don't fear it either. How does the strongest Dao sovereign fight? Originally, the master and disciple duo were lying low in the city, quietly observing from the sidelines. They suddenly find a lively girl clinging to them. This demoness, having not seen such a handsome man in years, immediately unleashes her seductive techniques. Even a seasoned Taoist of decades would likely fall under her spell, but she's miscalculated. Chen Yi, having maintained his purity for hundreds of thousands of years, isn't someone her meager seductive arts can sway. Scram, he says coldly. And the demonist lackeys immediately step forward, drawing their weapons, to teach this arrogant Taoist a lesson. Master, Ji Qianfan can't hold back any longer and prepares to fight, but Chunyi stops her. The human emperor's ruins are... We can't waste energy on fighting now. Save your strength for the inheritance trial. Today, I'll teach you. We don't seek trouble, but we don't fear it either. The once bustling restaurant is now in ruins, with only Chun Ye's table remaining intact. Now, everyone realizes this Taoist is no ordinary man. The demoness is trembling in fear, and her lackeys are too terrified to move. They quickly check themselves, making sure they're still alive. Chunyi takes this opportunity to ask Ji Qianfan, "Look at these people. Tell me, what do you see?" Fear, hesitation, panic, all stemming from a lack of strength. Today, because I'm stronger than them, they fear me. Only pure strength is true. You must get used to this kind of awe and turn it into motivation for your cultivation. Move forward with unwavering determination. Do you understand? Isn't using violence to suppress violence a bad example for a child? Do you have a problem? No. As they talk, a figure lands in the ruins, left by the light. How dare you? The city lord of Xingyang is furious. Who dares to summon heavenly lightning and cause such destruction? How does the strongest Dao sovereign show off? Qian Yi casually draws a 5 thunder talisman, summoning a storm of lightning. But thanks to his restraint, no one is seriously injured. However, the commotion is enough to alert the city's powerful guardians. The city lord follows the lightning's trail and finds the once bustling area in ruins. His blood pressure skyrockets. In decades, no one has dared to cause such a disturbance in Zhangyang City. Today, someone actually summoned heavenly lightning. With the human emperor's ruins about to open, as the city lord, I can't allow any disruptions. You little Taoist, stop talking nonsense. Do you think I'm a fool? This lightning isn't something a mere mortal like you could summon. Are you human or ghost? I'll find out by searching your soul. Without waiting for a response, the city lord forcibly invades Chun Ye's consciousness. Where is this? Expecting to easily dominate Chun Ye's mind, he finds no trace of the Taoist soul. Instead, he stands on an unfamiliar Taoist formation. Suddenly, he realizes he's entered Chun Ye's intangible aura domain. Within this domain, he's nothing but an insect at Chun Ye's mercy. The city lord is horrified, unable to accept this crushing defeat. Ji Qianfan's small mind is filled with confusion. The city lord's earlier arrogance didn't scare her, but his sudden kneeling shocks her. This man is at least a renowned expert at the Guizhong level. Why is he kneeling to master so easily? She doesn't understand, but she's deeply impressed. After exiting the aura domain, the city lord finds himself unharmed. The city lord quickly thanks Chen Yi for sparing his life. Cultivating the soul is no easy task. You should cherish it. If you die, who will compensate for the destroyed shops? I never intended to kill you, and besides, the time has come. What time? The entire city shakes violently. Those familiar with the situation know it's the opening of the human emperor's ruins. Young talents from all over gather. As the once, in 50 years human emperor trial begins, not only is the human emperor's inheritance sought by major sects, but even finding a relic of past human emperors would spark a fierce competition. Chunyi won't let Ji Qianfan miss this opportunity to prove herself. You can't enter, the city lord explains. This trial is for youths below the divine breakthrough realm. If a powerhouse like you enters, the younger generation won't stand a chance. Chunyi smiles and replies, it's not me entering, but my disciple. He pats Ji Qianfan on the shoulder, and she flinches under everyone's gaze. Your disciple can't enter either, the city lord says respectfully. No one above the divine breakthrough realm is allowed. With your abilities, your disciple must also be a formidable expert. Don't worry, she's only at the foundation establishment realm. How does the strongest Dao sovereign trick his disciple? Everyone present knows that the man before them is capable of summoning heavenly lightning. His strength must be beyond the divine breakthrough realm, but no matter how strong he is, his disciple is only at the foundation establishment realm. Not only will she struggle to find the human emperor's treasures, but she might not even survive. Chunyi ignores the crowd's whispers. Rather than letting Ji Qianfan enter and be discovered, it's better to lower everyone's guard by revealing her early. As a master of schemes, these basic tactics are child's play. Your task is to obtain the human emperor's inheritance. I believe in you. Ji Qianfan is stunned. Since the last human emperor's fall, no one has obtained the inheritance, and I'm only at the foundation establishment realm. How could I possibly succeed? Opportunities are for the destined. You're my first disciple. I have faith in you. But I don't have faith in myself. It's just the human emperor's inheritance. You'll be fine. With some trepidation, Ji Qianfan reluctantly enters the human emperor's ruins. As disciples from various sects enter one by one, the area grows quieter. Streams of light flash at the entrance, and elders from major sects gather outside. After greeting the city lord, they begin discussing the recent events in the city. The thunder in Zhengyang City was deafening, and the streets and shops were left in ruins. Even the ruins opened earlier than usual. Who could have caused this? The city lord glances at Chunyi, shivering slightly. It was the Red Lotus demon sect. He lies. I've already driven them away. No need to worry, elders. He dares not offend Chunyi. So he pins the blame on the demonic sections. The system is concerned about Ji Qianfan's low cultivation level. Most participants are at least at the A foundation establishment cultivator like her might not even survive. Chunyi smiles. The cultivation technique I taught her is my Taoist eye technique. It has no realm restrictions, and 10 levels signify mastery. She's reached the 16th level. Her strength far exceeds her own expectations. Chunyi can't help but feel sorry for the young talents in the ruins. He hopes they won't be too shocked when they witness Ji Qianfan's true power. Let's hope these youngsters don't get too scared. When they see her strength, Chunyi chuckles to himself. As long as their Tao hearts remain steady, it's fine. By the way, system, settle my previous mission rewards. Aside from the point rewards, you also get a single draw. Then let's draw right away. Golden Legend. What the heck is this? How does the strongest Tao sovereign clean up the mess? Chunyi watches as Ji Qianfan enters the human emperor's ruins. While she battles her way through, he decides to pass the time by trying his luck with the system's draw. Let's see if I can get something good. Golden Legend. I didn't expect the draw system to pull this off. I thought my second draw would also be golden. But it seems this divine fragment has its own agenda. The sudden appearance of a mysterious demon beast startles the city lord and the elders. Even during past openings of the human emperor's ruins, such a terrifying beast has never appeared, though they don't know why it's here. For the safety of the ruins and the disciples inside. Even if the beast is at the heavenly realm, the divine breakthrough elders and city lord have no choice but to face it head-on. Meanwhile, Chunyi, the one who caused this mess, has a different reaction. The system says this is just a divine fragment. Chunyi mutters, just a fragment. Ji Qianfan probably can't use it. One wonders how the city lord and elders would feel if they heard this. This Li Yin, one of the 24 great demons, is terrifying even as a mere fragment. Its soul-burning flames can pierce through the protective barriers of cultivators. Faced with such true damage, the elders and city lord find themselves in a tough spot. They can't afford to hold back. But Li Yin, annoyed by their constant attacks, grows increasingly agitated. These ants have no sense of self-preservation. Perhaps I should teach them a lesson. To open their eyes in their next life, with a wave of its hand. The united front of elders and city lord is instantly shattered. Despair spreads among the crowd. Just as they're about to meet their doom. Step back. I'll handle this. Chunyi, seeing the elders' desperation, steps forward without hesitation. As long as the players are safe, it's fine. Find a place to hide. With no distractions, cultivation becomes effortless. Chunyi rarely intervenes in such matters, but this mess is ultimately his fault. Those who suffered because of it were innocent bystanders. Though it's just a fragment, it's still a divine artifact. I'll take it a bit seriously. How does the strongest Tao sovereign clean up the mess? What started as a simple system draw turned into a disaster. Faced with the sudden appearance of a golden demon beast, the city lord and elder, despite their efforts, their attacks barely scratch the beast. Instead, they only anger it further. With a single move, the beast annihilates them all. Knowing the group can't hold out, the system urgently asks Chunyi to step in. Chunyi is also curious about the power of this system-generated beast. With a single wave of his hand, the world-destroying Li Yin vanishes into thin air. As a divine fragment, I'm a bit disappointed in you. Li Yin is puzzled. This ant seems different. Who are you? Who I am doesn't matter. Just know that I am now your master. The beast sneers at Qian Ye's audacity. Thinking he's courting death, it immediately prepares to attack Qian Ye with a simple wave of his hand. In Li Yan's shocked eyes, Qian Ye not only effortlessly blocks its ultimate move, but also remains completely unharmed. Since you've shown your killing intent, let me show you a taste of my ordinary attacks. The expected destruction doesn't come. Instead, Li Yan is merely restrained. Qian Ye only intends to return it to its original form. So, no matter how unwilling it is, it has no choice but to obediently. Qian Ye casually tosses it into his storage space. The elders from various clans, who were watching from the sidelines, finally breathe a sigh of relief. Amidst their praises of Qian Ye's unfathomable strength, a ethereal voice echoes from the human emperor's ruins. The voice invites Qian Ye to enter the ruins. I was just thinking the same. Qian Ye replies, how does the strongest Dao sovereign trick his disciple? Inside the perilous human emperor's tomb, the elite disciples of various sects are struggling in fierce battles. Meanwhile, Ji Qianfan, whose cultivation is seemingly insignificant, displays astonishing destructive power that far exceeds everyone's expectations. You say this powerhouse is only at the Foundation establishment realm? No one would believe it. Only Ji Qianfan herself remains deeply insecure about her abilities. Of course, the proud dragon in the magma also looks at her with disdain, completely ignoring her presence. Faced with the dragon's dismissive attitude, Ji Qianfan is at a loss. After all, she doesn't. Just as she's deep in thought, Qian Ye's voice rings out. I'll help you out. With a gentle push, Ji Qianfan falls into the magma, but instead of the expected burning pain, she finds herself in a pool of spiritual water. The magma was just an illusion. The real challenge is the divine breakthrough realm beast waiting ahead. Before she can process this, the beast attacks. The battle begins. How does the strongest Dao sovereign trick his disciple? Seeing his disciple hesitate at the cliff's edge, afraid of the beast 2 realms above her, Qian Ye recalls a saying. The best way to overcome fear is to face it head-on. Without hesitation, he kicks Ji Qianfan into the magma. Qian Ye, who sees through everything, that the magma is just an illusion. The real test is the divine breakthrough realm beast. Aren't you going to give her a weapon or something? She didn't ask for one. As they speak, Ji Qianfan is already battling the dragon. To her surprise, the dragon, 2 realms above her, isn't as invincible as she thought. The dragon is equally confused. How can someone with such weak aura be so strong? This human is playing dirty. After defeating the dragon, Ji Qianfan ventures deeper into the ruins. Before she can catch her breath, Qian Ye appears. Rested enough? Let's keep going. Hearing this, Ji Qianfan feels a sense of foreboding. Continue what? Master, you've already pushed me to my limits. How does the strongest Dao sovereign trick his disciple? Ji Qianfan, having just defeated a divine breakthrough realm dragon, barely gets a moment to rest. Before Qian Ye ups the ante, he releases 2 beasts at the soul formation realm. Ji Qianfan, already fighting enemies 2 or 3 realms above her, is completely overwhelmed. She begins to suspect that her master doesn't want her as a disciple. Why else would he keep throwing me into impossible battles? This is the trial of the human emperor's inheritance. I'm not intentionally making it harder. Though his words are hardly believable, Qian Ye kicks the dead dragon aside, ordering it to guard the entrance and keep out intruders. As the soul formation realm beast charges, it has no idea how many gates Qian Ye has shattered with a single palm strike. Its life ends quickly. Qian Ye helps Ji Qianfan complete half of her mission. Can you help me with the other one too? You'll have to handle the rest yourself. With those words, Qian Ye vanishes into a wisp of light. Ji Qianfan finally realizes that her master is truly gone. How does the strongest Dao sovereign trick his disciple? Ji Qianfan, having just defeated a divine breakthrough realm beast, barely gets a moment to rest. Before facing a soul formation realm beast, this intense, non-stop battle is bound to end in disaster. The beast's powerful punches that tear at her clothes, a direct hit, would be fatal. Qian Ye, seeing her determination, offers some advice. The biggest difference between humans and beasts is that humans can think. This beast may have brute strength and thunder techniques, but it's far less agile than you. Minimize unnecessary movements and target its weak points. But isn't the biggest difference that humans use weapons? Why didn't you give me a weapon, master? You didn't ask for one. Trusting her master's words, Ji Qianfan steels herself. She adopts a steady stance, minimizing unnecessary movements, and using her agility to outmaneuver. How does the most unfortunate disciple defy fate? As a Foundation Establishment Realm novice, defeating a Spirit Sea Realm opponent is impressive. Defeating a Divine Breakthrough Realm opponent is genius. But defeating a Soul Formation Realm opponent? That's just suicidal. It was suicidal. Ji Qianfan followed her master's instructions and fought steadily. But after a heavy punch, she underestimated her opponent and was countered. The ape's lethal punch sent Ji Qianfan flying. The system couldn't help but worry about her safety. But Chen Yi remained calm, knowing she'd be fine. After all, she was the future human emperor. She had been hiding her true strength in front of her mysterious master. But in a life-or-death situation, she couldn't afford to hold back anymore. If she didn't give it her all, she might lose her life here. As soon as he finished speaking, an astonishing aura erupted from the crater where Ji Qianfan had landed. She unleashed her full power at the cost of burning several times her spiritual energy, determined to make the ape pay for not finishing her off. With a single leap, she created multiple afterimages. The ape could no longer keep up with her speed. After a heavy punch, she quickly retreated, using her agility and hit-and-run tactics to wear the ape down. The frustrated ape roared in anger, but its charged lightning attacks were effortlessly dodged by Ji Qianfan. However, burning her spiritual energy at such a rate would only last her a minute. If she didn't find its weakness and defeat it within that time, she'd be at its mercy. She dodged another breath attack, but in the heat of battle, her shoulder was grazed. Severely injured, she had only one last chance to strike. Even in such a dire situation, her fighting spirit remained unshaken. Ji Qianfan decided to gamble her final attack on the ape's eyes. It was do or die. The final battle was about to begin. The battlefield was filled with the ape's lightning strikes, but Ji Qianfan closed the distance with her agility. She leaped high into the air, stepping off the ape's arm. How does the most unfortunate disciple get manipulated by her master? Ji Qianfan, at full power, delivered her final blow as her spiritual energy burned out, shattering the ape. Exhausted, she stumbled out of the battlefield and collapsed into her master's arms. She muttered about the spirit-burning technique, apologizing for hiding it from Chen Yi. Chen Yi smiled and said it was fine. Actually, I've also been hiding something from you. The human emperor's trial doesn't include fighting Guizhong realm beasts. Those two were just guarding the tomb. Of course, there were more things, but revealing them might be too much for Ji Qianfan to handle. Only the audience and Chen Yi knew the full story. Since she worked so hard this time, I'll give her a passing grade. Ji Qianfan faints from frustration. When Ji Qianfan woke up, she found herself resting on her master's lap, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Chen Yi put away his book, The Self-Cultivation of a Teacher, and took Ji Qianfan to the main hall to receive the human emperor's legacy. Ji Qianfan was still troubled by hiding her true strength, but Chen Yi reassured her, we're even now. Even? Oh, by the way, the spirit-burning technique damages your foundation. Try to use it sparingly. Changing the subject, Chen Yi entered the human emperor's hall first. The hall was filled with statues of past human emperors. At the feet of the innermost statue was a glowing treasure box, presumably the human emperor's legacy. What's this? The human emperor's statue released a powerful aura, freezing Ji Qianfan in place. It was demanding that she kneel in respect. Don't push it, Chen Yi said, annoyed. Retract your aura, or I'll shatter it myself. No one in the myriad realms could make. The human emperor's spirit was stunned, but quickly withdrew its pressure. The seventh human emperor, Ao Hongqi, greets the senior. Hey, don't back down now. Aren't you the human emperor with all those tricks? Show me what you've got. In that case, I'll have to offend you. How does the strongest Dao sovereign protect his disciple? In the myriad realms, only one person could make Chun Ye's disciple kneel, and that was Chun Yi himself. Even the human emperor's test for his successor wasn't an exception. You're the human emperor with all those tricks, right? Care to show me what you've got? Then I'll have to offend you. An earthquake? Please enlighten me. Senior, your skills are truly remarkable. Even if all the past human emperors gathered, they couldn't harm you in the slightest. What do you think? Heaven bless the human emperor realm. The successor is so young yet, and with such an unfathomable powerhouse backing her. Very well, the future of the human emperor realm is in your hands. Let's go. Claim your legacy. How does the strongest master attract trouble? The disciple had obtained the human emperor's legacy, but her use of the human emperor's seal was still a bit clumsy. Today, I'll test you. How do you use the seal? Ji Xianfan confidently replied, I'm familiar with this. My father also had a seal. Since I was young, I've used it to crack walnuts. Chunyi flicked her forehead and explained, you need the sects of the human emperor realm to acknowledge your strength and bear their fortunes. The human emperor's seal will convert their fortunes into your spiritual energy. Seeing Ji Xianfan's confused expression, Chunyi sighed. Forget it. I'll teach you outside. With that, he had Ji Xianfan control the seal to transport them and the serpent to the tomb's entrance. Ji Xianfan was shocked by the crowd gathered outside. You've obtained the human emperor's legacy. So all the other candidates were teleported out. The sects below the steps were eagerly watching the new human emperor. Many recognized her as the 9th princess, who had supposedly been assassinated after her meridians were severed. Ignoring the whispers, Chunyi instructed Ji Xianfan to raise the human emperor's seal high. Despite her nervousness, Ji Xianfan held the seal aloft, forcing the sects to re-evaluate their worldview. As the sects below sent urgent reports back to their factions, Chunyi knew it was the perfect time to strike while the iron was hot. Gather your spirit, see here. Chunyi understood this was the ideal moment to establish Ji Xianfan's authority. Ji Xianfan immediately sat down cross-legged, but she warned, I can't guarantee a golden spirit sea though. After all, those who achieved a golden spirit sea were once-in-a-millennium talents. The scene on the platform caught the attention. As the organization behind Ji Xianfan's assassination attempt, they couldn't allow this young human emperor to grow unchecked. Although the Taoist beside her was unfathomable, Ji Xianfan was completely defenseless while gathering her spirit sea. Can we kill her in one strike? A nearby elder confidently agreed, transforming into a crimson streak of light that bypassed the stunned sect members and aimed directly for Ji Xianfan's head. But before the strike could land, Chunyi intervened. Impossible. How does the strongest Dao sovereign annihilate his enemies? The elder from the White Jade capital suddenly attacked. They couldn't allow such a formidable enemy to grow. They aimed to strike while she was vulnerable during her breakthrough. The elder's lethal strike was executed flawlessly, with almost no warning before the attack. In an instant, he bypassed the surrounding cultivators, and the tip of his sword was mere inches from Ji Xianfan's forehead. He was confident that no one in the human emperor realm could block such a strike, but unfortunately, he had no idea what kind of terrifying existence stood beside his target. Chunyi grabbed the sword, crushed it, and with a flick of his finger, annihilated the elder. This display of power left the onlookers in shock. The scheming sects immediately fell silent. No need to rush. Once Ji Xianfan gathers her spirit sea, you can challenge her however you like. With that, Chunyi ignored the murmurs below and waited for Ji Xianfan to break through to the spirit sea realm, but the gasps from the crowd grew louder as they realized Ji Xianfan, who had supposedly been crippled, had gathered a purple spirit sea. Before her disappearance, she had only been at the blue spirit sea level. Wait, why is there a golden light in her spirit sea? Amidst the growing exclamations, Ji Xianfan's body was enveloped in a golden pillar of light. She had successfully broken through to the spirit sea realm, with the potential of a golden spirit sea. A legendary achievement unseen for thousands of years. The crowd wasn't just witnessing the rise of a new human emperor, but also the birth of a once-in-a-millennium genius. Not bad, not bad. The human emperor herself was basking in the glory. Now that your spirit sea is gathered, let's begin. As promised, I'll give you all a chance to challenge her. Anyone below the divine soul realm can challenge her, one-on-one or as a group. No rules. If you can defeat her, I won't interfere. One-on-one or a group fight. Ji Xianfan realized she had been set up by her master once again. Losing would be embarrassing, and winning would make enemies. She didn't dare do either. What's there to fear? I've limited the challenge to the divine soul realm. You've already crushed a Guizhong realm beast before your breakthrough. If you don't beat them into submission, how will you establish your authority as the human emperor? Does the most troublesome master attract trouble? Chunyi had promised the young cultivators below a chance to challenge his disciple. Anyone below the divine soul realm can challenge her, one-on-one or as a group. After all, it wasn't Chunyi who would suffer if she lost, but the young cultivators, having witnessed Ji Xianfan gather a golden spirit sea and dominate the trial at the mortal realm, were hesitant to challenge her. Most were too afraid to step forward, while the weaker ones hesitated. There were always stronger cultivators eager to test their skills, without a challenge. How could they know if the new human emperor was truly formidable? These two had once been Ji Xianfan's idols during her Spirit Sea days. Now, they approached her as juniors seeking guidance. Ji Xianfan was still adjusting to this role reversal. But now you're the human emperor. It's time to shatter the idol image. You're the first person in history to have the chance to beat up your own idols. As Chunyi said, the future of the human emperor realm rested on Ji Xianfan's shoulders. Two top-tier young cultivators were no match for her. If they wanted a beating, she'd give them one, but fighting bare-handed made it seem like she was underestimating her opponents. Be careful. However, Ji Xianfan's brute force style made it clear to the duo that she wasn't holding back by fighting unarmed. They quickly realized they'd need to go all out, even 2 against 1. They channeled all their power, but Ji Xianfan shattered it with a single palm strike. When they tried to close the distance, she blocked them with a spear of spiritual energy. So that's why you don't use weapons? Not really. I just don't have one. After all, her master never gave her one. As someone who had crushed a Guizhong realm beast at the mortal realm, Ji Xianfan's spear strike at the golden spirit sea level instantly incapacitated one of the duo. The other couldn't react in time. After exhausting all his techniques, he was disarmed and defeated. Thus, the clash between the top young talents of the human emperor realm came to an end. After some humble words of concession, the duo admitted defeat and praised her skills. The elders present paid their respects to Chenyi before leading their disciples away. But then, an old man's voice rang out. It was Elder Feng, who had been searching for Ji Xianfan for a long time. He was Ji Xianfan's master, who had saved her in her time of need and taught her cultivation techniques. He was like a second father to her. He was also the sworn brother of Ji Xianfan's grandfather. According to the system, he would fail to ascend in 2 years and perish. But before his death, he doted on his granddaughter, Ji Xianfan. However, what should have been a joyous reunion took a turn when he heard her call Chenyi master. Why is this girl calling you master? Ji Xianfan refuses to return with me. You must have bewitched her. Are you after my granddaughters? Elder Feng, please stop. Chenyi couldn't help but laugh at the old man's words, though it was clear Elder Feng was just worried. Calling Chenyi a young punk was something he hadn't heard in tens of thousands of years. Elder Feng suddenly pushed away the two supporting him and walked up to Chenyi. Then, he knelt down with a thud. Thank you, senior, for teaching me the method of ascension. Only then did Ji Xianfan and her brother understand that Chenyi had just imparted a divine technique. To casually teach an ascension technique, if we can get close to someone like this. With everything settled, Chenyi called Ji Xianfan to mount the serpent and leave. Just then, the system notified him of a new mission. After some thought, Chenyi tied up Ji Xianfan's brother and took him along. A senior like him must have a deeper purpose. Ji Xianfan's brother was confused. They had never met before. So why was Chenyi taking him? Seeing his attempts to cover up, Chenyi cut straight to the point. About Ji Xianfan being framed by someone in the palace. You know quite a lot, don't you? Even my royal brother didn't expect this Taoist to be so resourceful. But seeing the gloom gradually appear on my dear sister's face, he stopped making excuses. Your royal brothers all know about this. Every royal descendant must face the struggle for power. But third brother has never had any intention of harming you. All the princes who know the truth have been cursed. If they reveal that person's identity, they will. Speak the name, and I will ensure you live. Facing Qianfan, the third prince felt guilt creeping up his spine. Fine. Keeping the princes alive is just a cover-up. Her identity shouldn't be hard to guess. An evil mist began to surround the prince. That person is the 7th prince's mother. Imperial consort Shiha. The prince's voice grew weaker. It seemed the curse had already taken effect. From the gaping hole in his chest, a woman's figure emerged. Jibo, it seems you have a death wish. The most tragic in history. The Red Lotus Demon sect was peaceful. They had sent people to deal with those who bullied. Although the daughter was always preoccupied with trivial matters, those who offend the Red Lotus Demon sect will be captured and brought here for her amusement. But somehow, a sense of foreboding lingered. At that moment, a sudden storm swept through the peaceful sect. A dragon appeared in the sky, its body emitting a deafening roar. Its eyes glowed with a terrifying light, and its body expanded several times in size. Then, it unleashed a devastating breath attack, which immediately triggered the sect's protective barrier. But the barrier only held for a moment, before shattering into pieces. Seeing the attack, everyone in the sect fled in panic. A loud explosion came from the sect leader's hall, and the sect leader emerged, determined to see who dared challenge the Red Lotus Demon sect. After dispelling the breath attack, he soared into the sky, ready to unleash his Red Lotus Demon spiral to kill the beast. But a golden talisman appeared out of nowhere, absorbing the demon spiral and transforming into several dragons. The dragons, far more terrifying than the spiral, engulfed the sect leader in an instant. This was naturally the work of Taoist Chunyi, since Qianfan wanted to learn talismans, and the Red Lotus Demon sect had provoked him. He decided to use them as a teaching example. But the power of the talismans was too terrifying. The sect leader, a powerful figure, was defeated so easily. He has some tricks up his sleeve. He won't die so easily. With your level of power, why haven't you ascended? I don't recall offending someone like you. I killed 2 people and let a woman go. It seems she didn't. Senior, please spare me. I'll pay any price. Any price? I want the Red Lotus Demon sect to disappear from the human emperor realm, the most tragic in history. The third prince, under the curse, revealed the name of the one who plotted against Qianfan, and the curse was triggered. No one expected the gentle imperial consort to be capable of such cruelty. A terrifying force tore through the third prince's chest, and the imperial consort appeared, furious that her assassination attempt had failed. She cursed the assassination organization as useless. Fine, she would take Princess Qianfan's fortune herself. With that, she descended like a mountain. But suddenly, her power was bound by chains that appeared out of nowhere. This was naturally Chan Ye's doing. You speak of fortune. You're not from this world, and you dare harm my disciple in front of me. I'd like to see who gave you the courage. No, he's trying to steal my memories. Realizing she was no match, she chose to self-destruct. Meanwhile, in the imperial palace, the imperial consort was speaking with the 7th prince when she suddenly coughed up blood. Her heart racing, she quickly dismissed the prince. That Taoist who appeared out of nowhere knew her true identity. It seemed she had to act sooner than planned. Chunyi pondered over the system panel, realizing that the appearance of another world's traveler was the true reason the system had brought him here. But the 1.0 version of the system didn't know more details. It seems I'll have to wait until the system upgrades to version 2.0. But when I came back to my senses, I found Qianfan holding the dying third prince. I almost forgot about this. Chenyi remembered he had promised to keep the prince alive. In an instant, the prince's nearly lifeless body was restored, and Qianfan was reunited with her unharmed brother. The third prince, who had twice put his sister in mortal danger, hastily apologized to Qianfan. But Qianfan said it wasn't his fault. It was the imperial consort's deceitful and venomous nature. However, her master clicked his tongue in dissatisfaction. Third prince, can you fly? Ah, senior. I'm at the divine soul realm, so I naturally have levitation techniques. Good, then take care and leave. In Qianfan's shocked gaze, the third prince gradually disappeared into the distance. Master, are you angry? I'm not angry, just annoyed by your brother's stupidity. Even though Elder Feng and your father could have lifted the curse, because that woman is your father's favorite consort, he chose to ignore you after weighing the pros and cons. His actions were just excuses for his incompetence. Master is definitely angry. He's talking more than usual. Huh, what's that? Evil lurks. Master and disciple were riding on the purple dragon, when suddenly the clear sky turned crimson. Upon closer inspection, fireballs were raining down. The explosion engulfed the master and disciple in an instant. The perpetrator watched from afar. It was the Red Lotus Demon sect, who had set up an ambush. They targeted Chenyi for offending their sect, but seeing the Taoist unable to dodge the attack, they thought their young lady had exaggerated his strength. Too bad. The young lady wanted him captured alive, but now he's been blown to pieces. They'd have to find another man to compensate her, but was it really that simple? As the smoke cleared, the master, disciple, and dragon stood unharmed, glaring at the demon sect members. The Red Lotus demon sect truly didn't know their place. Chunyi had spared their young lady in Tianyang City, yet they ambushed him in return. It seems you don't know how to write the word death. Yin Kuang didn't care if the Taoist was all talk, and fired another blast, but Chunyi, his killing intent rising, had already sentenced him to death. With a few strokes, he drew a talisman, and with a single finger, he blocked the raging flames, which disintegrated in an instant. This display of power terrified them. He had easily deflected an attack they couldn't withstand. No, he's at the heavenly realm. Or higher. Chunyi didn't care what they thought, and returned a fire blast far more terrifying than theirs. With a scream, he exploded into a shower of sparks. At this point, even a fool would know to fight for their life. Yen Gu unleashed his strongest attack, a calamity serpent that devoured everything in its path. A single touch would annihilate both body and soul. But the next second, he couldn't laugh anymore. With another flick of his finger, Chen Ye's blue talisman sliced the serpent into pieces, and obliterated the caster as well. Yan Ji had never experienced such terror. She had only come to check on the young man as ordered by the young lady. The young man was indeed handsome, but it wasn't worth losing her life over. Then get lost. Yan Ji couldn't believe her ears. Don't want to leave? Should I send you off? Without hesitation, Yan Ji fled. Though they had dealt with 3 small fry, Chunyi had already blacklisted the demon sect. Qianfan, do you want to learn that talisman? Qianfan, not understanding her master's implication, eagerly agreed. Good, I'll teach you later. Let's go to the Red Lotus demon sect, the most tragic in history. Chunye's desire to eliminate the Red Lotus demon sect wasn't baseless, though they had repeatedly provoked him. That wasn't the reason they deserved to die. The real reason was, the sect harbored something that didn't belong in the human emperor. The sect imprisoned the souls of many cultivators, likely to serve a being from beyond this realm. The demon lord fell silent for a moment, then burst into maniacal laughter. A centuries-old secret had been exposed by a mere Taoist. Now, there was no choice but to fight to the death. Perhaps it was time to fully awaken that being. It would definitely be interested in Qian Ye's soul. Without another word, the demon lord tore open his chest, summoning 2 crimson beams that shot into the magma. The once calm lava began to boil violently. He raised his arms and called out the name of the wrathful Azura. An arm emerged from the lava, and with a earth-shaking roar, a colossal lava titan slowly rose. The legendary demon god had truly descended. With such terrifying spiritual pressure, it was clear this was no ordinary demon from the human emperor realm. This was the source of the demon sect's confidence to oppose the righteous cultivators. Even if that Taoist was at the heavenly realm, he would surely fall under the demon god's might. The demon lord immediately ordered the demon god to eliminate Chen Yi and his disciple. The demon god looked down and immediately grew furious. A mere half-step immortal dares to command me? After being sealed by the damned human emperor for so long, it's time to make you people pay. All you ants, prepare to die. With a single swing of its massive sword, the Red Lotus demon sect was pierced through. The sect leader was betrayed by the very god he had nurtured, and met his end. The demon god's goal wasn't to aid the demon sect, but to make the human emperors who sealed it pay. First, it would turn the human emperor realm upside down, the most tragic in history. The demon lord summoned his final trump card, the demon god, only to be betrayed by it. Not only was the sect's foundation destroyed, but he also met his demise. Truly an unlucky man. But the demon god, a calamity seeking to destroy the human emperor realm, still needed to be dealt with. Chunyi had brought Qianfan to the demon sect for a lesson. Since Chunyi decided to use the demon god as a teaching example. He reminded Qianfan to focus, as he would only demonstrate once. But Qianfan's mind was a mess. Such hands-on teaching was a critical hit to her young heart. A girl her age had never experienced such a situation. Meanwhile, the demon god was rampaging through the sect, when it suddenly sensed an unusual presence in the air. Damn it! Who's showing off their affection so blatantly? The demon god sensed a familiar aura, the very human emperor it loathed. No matter how many centuries passed, it would never forget. It demanded to know why the human emperor was here, but Qianfan was too focused on forming the talisman to pay it any attention. Enraged by the disregard, the demon god hurled its massive sword at Qianfan. The terrifying sword flew toward her in an instant, causing Chenyi to frown in displeasure. With a flick of his finger, he drew, and a purple lotus shattering the incoming sword. Before the demon god could recover from its attack being deflected, Qianfan had already gathered her power to the limit. She couldn't hold back any longer. With a gentle point of her finger, a heavenly thunder tribulation descended from the clouds. The demon god looked up. Oh, just a thunder tribulation. A mere human emperor realm thunder tribulation. I'll smash it with one punch. But the expected punch didn't happen. It only lasted a moment before being utterly crushed. Qianfan, drained of energy, fainted. The system admired the scene of molten debris, thinking the demon god had been obliterated, but Chunyi said it was still a bit short. In the crater left by the thunder tribulation, the demon god clung to life. It never imagined such a small world could summon a heavenly thunder tribulation, but given time to recover, it could rise again. Do you think you still have a chance? This was quickly ended by Chenyi with a single finger. The most tragic demon god thus met its end. The beam that pierced the demon god melted a massive hole in the ground, and deep within lay the demon sect's fortune. Chunyi planned to take Qianfan to absorb the sect's fortune. But the unconscious Qianfan was muttering incomprehensibly. Who knows what kind of dream she was having? The dragon, Shaoqing, mischievously shifted its back, causing Qianfan to wake up with a start. Recalling the dream, Qianfan's face turned red. Shaoqing had heard everything, and wore a knowing smile. Oh, you're blushing. Let me see. Eaten yet? If not, take this punch. Seeing Qianfan awake, Chenyi quickly called her over. This is where generations of human emperors sealed the demon god. The artifact used to suppress the demon god was a fragment of the human emperor realm's fortune. With a single talisman from Chanyi, the entire underground space began to rumble. As the tremors subsided, a yellow seal appeared in mid-air. Qianfan then absorbed the fortune using the human emperor seal, which would convert it into spiritual energy, continuously supplying Qianfan. The massive surge of spiritual energy caused Qianfan to level up several times. With the demon sect destroyed, the demon god slain, and the fortune secured, it was time to move on to the next stage of training. The first step was to return to Qianfan's hometown. Are we going back already? Qianfan thought her master was going to deal with Imperial Consort Shiha, who had framed her. That was indeed one of the reasons for returning to the Xianyuan Imperial City, but the main goal was to give Qianfan some special training. As for what that special training entailed, the most deceptive master, bringing his disciple to, Qianfan was now curious. What exactly was her master's so-called special training? Upon returning to her hometown, the Xianyuan Imperial Dynasty, Qianfan realized that her master's special training was to find a nearly empty tea house and listen to stories all afternoon. But these were old tales that had been told hundreds of times. Yet her master still found them amusing. Does my master have such a low threshold for humor? After the stories ended, Chunyi stopped the storyteller, asking about any extraordinary events or figures from the past century. But the most legendary figure was none other than Imperial Consort Shiha, who had framed Qianfan. Hearing the storyteller praise the two-faced Shiha, Qianfan wanted to take back the money she had paid. But under Qianye's gaze, she reluctantly paid the bill. Imperial Consort Shiha was highly praised by the people, and as a transmigrator, she likely had some grand purpose. But that was a matter for later. Qianye's so-called special training was essentially giving Qianfan a break. Haste makes waste. Training in the mortal world is also necessary. Consider it a reward for Qianfan's hard work. Qianfan perked up at the mention of food and fun. She immediately thought of a great place to take Chunyi. Even as the human emperor, she was still a 16-year-old at heart. Though taking a disciple was a system task, Chunyi still had his own emotions. This was his first time being a master, and he needed time to develop his teaching methods. Why not follow your own master's methods? I never had a master. So strong he didn't even need a master. After wandering around with Qianfan as her guide, they finally arrived at the great place. She confidently declared, even the palace guards sneak here. They say it's a paradise for men. Master, you're a man too, so you'll definitely like it. Seeing the enthusiastic welcome from the ladies, Qianfan urged Chenyi to go inside. The system, always eager for drama, quickly recorded the event. June 23, 33. Human Emperor Qianfan takes Master Chenyi to a brothel. Chunyi was furious and flicked Qianfan on the forehead. Copy the Tao Te Ching 100 times as punishment. Huh. Why? After days of traveling, Chunyi confirmed that Imperial Consort Shiha was the only transmigrator in the human emperor realm. He wondered why the system had chosen him to transmigrate here and take a disciple, since Qianfan would have become the human emperor eventually without him. His purpose Must be related to transmigrators like Shiha. Why do transmigrators steal the fortune of small worlds? This question would have to be answered by Shiha herself, the strongest in history. To uncover why the time travelers had come here, Chun Ye's first thought was to capture one and ask. The lucky candidate was naturally the only time traveler in the human emperor realm, the imperial physician, Shihi. Chun Ye's divine vision instantly locked onto Shihi's location. The onlookers thought it was some strange phenomenon from another world. Only Shihi knew. It was the aura of that unfathomable Taoist. Realizing she couldn't stay any longer, Shihi immediately fled. But Chen Yi had already figured out her movements. Where could she possibly escape to? After a morning stroll and breakfast, Chen Yi told Qian Fan he would take her somewhere today to settle some matters. Some things needed to be resolved there. By the starry lake, the master and disciple were leisurely feeding fish. When the sound of hoofbeats approached from behind, Qian Fan turned to see the imperial physician Shihi arriving. Chun Yi directly addressed Shihi as a time traveler. Shihi was startled but soon realized that this Taoist was also a time traveler like her. Chun Yi demanded Shihi return the fortune she had stolen. She laughed. Stolen? We're no different. Chen Yi didn't understand her words, but reminded her he wouldn't interfere in the feud between Qian Fan and Shihi. Qian Fan was eager to showcase the results of her training. But in the eyes of a renowned expert like Shihi, this seemed overconfident. She might not be able to defeat, but she was confident she could easily handle Qian Fan. A loud explosion echoed in the distance as Shihi summoned the pseudo-artifact she used to time travel. Seizing the moment Qian Fan was distracted, she struck with a palm. Ruthless Shihi aimed to take both Qian Fan's fortune and her life. Qian Fan was sent flying into the lake, her fate uncertain. With the peak strength of the human emperor realm and the pseudo-artifact that could steal fortune, Shihi was confident even the Taoist couldn't stop her. Is that all? The most ridiculous counterattack in history. Shihi, in front of Chun Yi, sent Qian Fan flying with a single palm strike. The terrifying force even plowed a deep trench in the ground. Qian Fan fell into the lake, her fate unknown. Seeing Qian Fan so easily defeated, Shihi relaxed. With her cultivation and the pseudo-artifact, she thought the Taoist's arrogance would be his downfall. Your disciple is already dead. Fighting further would only harm us both. Why not share the fortune of the human emperor realm? Chen Yi looked at her as if she were a fool. Though she might not realize it herself, Chen Yi considered using her pseudo-artifact to leave the human emperor realm. With a flick of his finger, he sealed Shihi's pseudo-artifact, preventing her escape. With her artifact destroyed, Shihi began to panic. Was the Taoist seeking revenge for his disciple's death? Chen Yi found her panic amusing. He had only prevented her escape. She thought she had defeated Qian Fan, but that was just a warm-up. Shihi's heart raced upon hearing this. How could a spirit sea cultivator? Before she could finish, ripples spread across the lake's surface. A fiery figure erupted from the lake's center. Qian Fan had survived Shihi's full force strike, defying Shihi's understanding of spirit sea cultivators. My disciple is full of surprises. Enraged, Qian Fan unleashed her full power, activating the soul-burning forbidden technique once more. Even at the mortal realm, she could challenge a Guizhong expert. Now, at the spirit sea realm, her power was unimaginable. Qian Fan charged her spear, releasing it like a bolt of lightning. Shihi formed a protective barrier, but it barely withstood the spear's impact. This can't be the power of a spirit sea cultivator. But the spear gave no answers. Spear met palm, creating a shockwave that shook the heavens, though it seemed evenly matched. The soul-burning technique only lasted a minute. Shihi noticed the strange surge in Qian Fan's energy, and knew it couldn't last. But while Shihi strategized, she couldn't let a mere spirit sea cultivator outshine her. Today, she would teach Qian Fan a lesson in cultivation. One should fear not death, but their own foolishness. Shihi planned to use the fortune and spiritual energy she had stolen to obliterate Qian Fan into dust. A century's worth of accumulated spiritual energy was not something a mere spirit sea cultivator could withstand. But while Shihi had the mountain and river diagram, Qian Fan had the human emperor seal. Qian Fan might not excel in direct confrontations, but when it came to fortune, you stole the fortune of the human emperor realm. But did you not know that fortune belongs to the human emperor? The entire world knew Qian Fan was the new human emperor. It seemed Shihi was the only one unaware. To steal someone's spiritual energy and then confront them with it. Such a bewildering move was truly one of a kind across the myriad realms. As expected, Qian Fan let out a roar, and Shihi's attacks were all converted into pure spiritual energy and absorbed. The energy then rebounded, causing Shihi's soul to tremble violently. This defeat was entirely Shihi's own doing. The most filial in history. Lotus Pond under the moonlight. The system felt uneasy in the room's heavy atmosphere. Chun-Yi told the system to speak openly without hiding anything. The system said, "Did we miss an episode?" The system continued, "Qianfan's state seems off since she returned. It seems Shi's final words before her death have had some effect on Qianfan." Chun-Yi replied, "None of your concern. The points to upgrade the system are ready. Spend the next 2 days upgrading to version 2.0. I'll handle Qianfan's matters." With that, he initiated the system upgrade. The system transformed into a ball of light and merged into Qian Ye's body. But there was still one matter to handle outside. Chun-Yi guessed that if he didn't step out, Qianfan might stand there all night. "Come with me. Speak your mind directly." 2 small cups, 3 pots of wine. The two sat side by side in silence. Qianfan had many questions in her heart. As he had said before her death, there was no such thing as unconditional kindness. So Qian Ye's kindness toward her must have some ulterior motive. He had saved her life, taught her techniques. Why was he so good to her? What did he truly want? Was it really the fortune of the human emperor realm? "I can answer 3 of your questions, and I'll only speak the truth." Qianfan was overjoyed and immediately asked, "What's your name, master?" Chun-Yi was surprised by the question, but realized Qianfan had never heard his real name. After answering with a smile, he reminded her to ask the next question. Qianfan was thrilled to learn Qian Ye's true name, but soon realized she had missed the main point. She wanted to know if Qian Ye's goal was the fortune of the human emperor realm. Chun-Yi countered by asking what she would do if it were true. Qianfan hesitated before whispering, "I would return all my cultivation to you and try to stop you." Chun-Yi reassured her that such a thing would never happen. He had taken her as a disciple because of fate. The human emperor realm's fortune was protected by the human emperor, and Chun-Yi would protect his disciple Qianfan. In doing so, he indirectly safeguarded the human emperor realm's fortune. No matter how far Qianfan ventured across the myriad realms, she would always be Qian Ye's disciple, and that was enough. "Alright, last question." But Qianfan suddenly grew nervous. She grabbed a whole pot of spiritual liquid and gulped it down to bolster her courage. With newfound bravery, she asked Chun-Yi if he had a Tao companion or a master's wife. Chun-Yi replied expressionlessly that he did not. His expression carried a hint of loneliness. All his enemies and friends had vanished into the river of time. Immortals and mortals walked different paths, and no one had accompanied him to the end of the Tao. He had grown accustomed to it. He was used to it. "Your female disciple." After downing the entire pot of spiritual liquid, Qianfan was completely intoxicated and disoriented. Unable to withstand the potency, Chun-Yi thought she might be too out of it, and tried to help her sober up, but Qianfan grabbed his hand, forcefully stopping him from casting any spells. Then she lunged forward, tearfully saying she didn't want to sober up. Whether Chun-Yi liked her or not, she loved him. Chun-Yi was somewhat amused. Noting that the little girl's strength had increased after reaching the spirit sea realm, Qianfan smiled through her tears, vowing to keep cultivating and stay by Qian Ye's side. But unable to handle the alcohol, she passed out mid-sentence, collapsing onto Chun-Yi, leaving him unsure of how to react. The night passed in silence. Qianfan woke up with a hangover, the pot of spiritual liquid having completely robbed her of her senses the night before. But the thought of last night's embarrassing behavior made her heart skip a beat, instantly sobering her up. This was a major embarrassment. Meanwhile, Chun-Yi was outside feeding the purple dragon some pills. Qianfan, however, hid by the doorframe, too ashamed to face him. Seeing she was awake, Chun-Yi quickly called her over. Qianfan wanted to apologize for her actions last night, and begged Chun-Yi not to be angry with her. Chun-Yi thought for a moment and decided she needed a small punishment. He flicked her forehead, reminding her not to drink so much if she couldn't handle it. Qianfan was relieved. It seemed Chun-Yi wasn't angry with her. "Get ready. We're heading to the Great Luo sect." The Great Luo sect? Chun-Yi explained that they needed to gather the fortune of the human emperor realm within 3 days. It was like a speed run for high-level players. The Great Luo sect, Mount Fulling. Just a few days ago, they had beaten up their head disciple. Now they were here to collect the sect's fortune. Being the human emperor sure meant making a lot of enemies. But the two were stopped by the sect's disciples at the entrance. Barging into someone's sect without a greeting was indeed quite rude. Greetings are too troublesome. Chun-Yi gathered a surge of spiritual energy and slapped it onto Qianfan's shoulder. Qianfan's eyes instantly glowed with golden light, and an overwhelming spiritual pressure erupted from her body. The disciples guarding the gate were all pushed back by the pressure. A terrifying spiritual pressure condensed into the form of a human emperor statue. Standing tall at the Great Luo sect's entrance, Chany's move clearly demonstrated the human emperor's intentions. A distant voice from the sect leader instructed the guards to escort them in. The disciples then respectfully invited the two inside. Qianfan felt uneasy. What if they refused to cooperate and didn't want to hand over their fortune? Have you ever seen a worker? The great Luo sect disciples led Qinyi and Qianfan to the plaza. The surrounding disciples buzzed with discussions about the young human emperor. Seeing so many people in the plaza, Qianfan muttered, I might not be able to take them all on if they gang up on me. After all, this wasn't the first time Chunyi had helped her in a group fight. While lost in thought, Qianfan was suddenly called out. It was the head disciple The head disciple didn't dare to slight the new human emperor, and quickly led the two to meet the sect leader. In just a few days, the human emperor had become even more unfathomable, capable of summoning a divine statue of feat of great power. The head disciple brought them to a pavilion at the edge of the sect. Inside sat the great Luo sect's leader, a heavenly human realm expert who had chosen not to ascend to the heavens. Chunyi sat across from the sect leader, while the leader praised Qianfan profusely, the youngest and most talented human emperor. But when it came to their purpose, he cut Qianfan off. Handing over the sect's protective fortune to Qianfan meant the sect's spiritual energy would prioritize her. It also meant the great Luo sect and the human emperor would be tied together, rise and fall together. So, it'll cost more. The lives of all the great Luo sect's disciples were now in Qianfan's hands. To bear the fortune of the entire human emperor realm was the duty of the human emperor. Could Qianfan shoulder the fate of the entire realm? Facing the overwhelming spiritual pressure, Qianfan felt as if her organs were being crushed, but she couldn't rely on her master every time. She became the human emperor not because the realm chose her, but because she had the resolve to become one. The human emperor must bear the weight of the world. Today, she was determined to claim this fortune. Not even Jesus can stop me from taking it. Qianfan's human emperor's spiritual energy shaking the entire great Luo sect with a deafening roar. The sect leader, who hadn't drawn his sword in years, was blocked by her power. The human emperor's potential was limitless. The sect leader saw traces of the previous human emperor in Qianfan's actions. Her unyielding stubbornness was a perfect match. With this, the sect leader's test of the new human emperor was complete. Even the previous human emperor couldn't achieve what she had. The human emperor realm had truly found a treasure. I have a question, sect leader. Why haven't you ascended to the heavens despite reaching the heavenly human realm? The sect leader sighed. The human emperor realm still suppressed foreign evils. If those evils broke free, only a heavenly human realm expert could stop. But in history, I have a question, Chunyi said, sipping his tea. After reaching the heavenly human realm, staying in the human emperor realm not only halts cultivation progress, but also leads to physical decline. Why hasn't the great Luo sect leader ascended to the heavens? The sect leader replied, the human emperor realm still harbors evil beings from other worlds. If I ascend, who will stop them if they break free? Only someone of his power could stand against such threats. Chunyi perked up at the mention of evil beings. The strongest one had already been killed with a single finger from him. The remaining small fries wouldn't dare show themselves anytime soon. The great Luo sect leader could safely ascend to the heavens. After all, if the sky falls, my disciple will handle it. The sect leader quickly thanked Chunyi. After years of waiting, he could finally take this step. Ascending to the heavens was a wonderful thing. From now on, the human emperor realm would be left to the younger generation. Qianfan was then led to the great Luo sect's forbidden area to retrieve the sect's protective fortune. The great Luo sect's fortune and spiritual energy were indeed far more potent than the Red Lotus demon sect's. This righteous sect's fortune felt warm and comforting. Neither too salty nor too bland, it was perfect. Chunyi reminded Qianfan to reflect on it later. They still had 3 more fortunes to collect, or rather, take. Chunyi then took Qianfan to visit several major sections. With the great Luo sect's cooperation, the others also complied without issue. After a busy day, the master and disciple returned to the Dao Palace. Thinking that Qianfan had absorbed so much fortune, she was now breaking through to the divine soul realm. It wasn't ideal for her to fight empty-handed all the time, so now that she had reached this level, it was time to give her a weapon. In the cultivation room, Qianfan's body radiated golden light. Her spiritual energy, far stronger than an ordinary spirit sea cultivator's, began to solidify. With a burst of golden light from her forehead, her spirit sea energy surged rapidly. The youngest divine soul realm cultivator in history had been achieved. Even Chunyi couldn't help but praise her breakthrough speed. Divine soul condensed, radiance solidified, a perfect soul. Well done. Qianfan noticed something glowing behind Chunyi. Is that a new game? More exciting than a game. Chen Yi explained that he had scavenged it from the human emperor's tomb. Only now, at her current level, could Qian Fan use it. He gave her 3 days to familiarize herself with the weapon and techniques. In 3 days, she would have to fight a tough battle on her own. Qian Fan thought for a moment. If she had to seek revenge on anyone, the first name that came to mind was Bai Yujing. In history, if we talk about the grudge between Qian Fan and Bai Yujing, it was a life-and-death feud dating back to the very beginning of the story. First, they were hired by imperial physician Scythe to chase her to the snowy mountains. Then, during her coronation as human emperor, they sent assassins. Luckily, Master Chun Yi was always there to save her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have survived. But now, she was the future ruler of the human emperor realm. Even if Chun Yi didn't say it, Qian Fan wouldn't let him interfere in this revenge. She landed forcefully at Bai Yujing's entrance, where a large crowd was already waiting for her. She thought they were preparing for an all-out battle. But to her surprise, the Bai Yujing leader presented their fortune with both hands. This left the fully armed Qian Fan feeling awkward. Why isn't anyone fighting when everyone's here? The Bai Yujing disciples knelt alongside their leader. The leader tearfully admitted they had been misled by evil forces, and begged the human emperor to forgive them. They offered their fortune with both hands, pleading for mercy. Though the fortune was genuine, something felt off. Old habits die hard, Chen Yi hinted subtly. Should the human emperor let go of grudge? It was up to Qian Fan to decide. But the leader suddenly flashed a sinister smile. The fortune box erupted with a cloud of dust, engulfing Qian Fan, who was caught off guard. The leader laughed maniacally. A grand assassination sect would never surrender so easily. The human emperor was too naive, lacking caution. Using soul-severing smoke on her was overkill, but the fortune she carried was worth it for Bai Yujing. Moreover, she could be used to control that Taoist. This Oscar-worthy performance was a triple win. Before he could finish, a golden light pierced through the smoke, aiming straight for the young leader's heart. Though a treasure fan blocked the fatal blow, the impact sent him flying. The leader was shocked. Someone hit by soul-severing smoke shouldn't be able to use spiritual energy. Just how powerful was this young human emperor? In history, a flash of cold light shot out from the toxic smoke, aiming straight for the young leader's heart. The young leader quickly used his treasure fan to shield his chest, but the force behind the light spear was too much for him to handle. He was sent flying, crashing through several stone pillars. The leader, concerned for his son, was horrified. Even a whiff of the smoke should sever one's meridians. How could this girl still use spiritual energy? Just how strong was this young human emperor? But the spear gave no answers. Terrifying light spears continued to shoot out from the smoke, taking out elite disciples one after another. The sect leader's years of hard work and ambition were shattered in such a short time by a young girl. Even the seasoned leader couldn't help but lose his mind. Facing Bai Yujing, who feigned surrender but secretly poisoned her, Qian Fan showed no sympathy or mercy. The grudge between Qian Fan and Bai Yujing was beyond reconciliation, and Bai Yujing's fate was sealed. It would cease to exist. The leader paid a heavy price for underestimating Qian Fan. Now, he had no other choice. If Qian Fan wanted Bai Yujing's fortune so badly, he would forcibly merge with it, denying her the chance to claim it. But a mortal body couldn't withstand such immense spiritual energy. Yet, the fortune made up for his lack of strength, giving him the power to destroy the human emperor. A villain remains a villain until death. He only wanted Qian Fan's life. With his Guizhong realm cultivation, already higher than Qian Fan's divine soul realm, and bolstered by 1,000 years of fortune, his power far surpassed Qian Fan's. In just one exchange, Qian Fan felt the overwhelming gap in strength. This was far beyond the power of the Guizhong realm. Qian Fan, with her speed and strength, dared not face him head-on. She could only avoid his desperate attacks. Such a massive battle was too draining for her. She used the soul-burning technique to blast the Bai Yujing leader away, followed by a sweeping strike to send him flying. Facing the leader's relentless pursuit, Qian Fan thought of a quick solution. The technique her master had taught her, the 3,000 thunder runes, capable of shattering even demons. With a thunderous roar from the heavens, a divine lightning strike descended. The leader, who had never seen such divine power, was instantly engulfed by the raging lightning. It seemed even 9 lives wouldn't be enough for him. This should finally be the end. It was over, but not completely, because from the dust, a man with an unfamiliar face, Qian Fan sensed that this man didn't carry the leader's aura. I can tell at a glance you're not human, huh? The body was still the leader's, but the aura was entirely different. Who are you? In history. Qian Fan immediately realized the man before her wasn't human. The well-built man thanked Qian Fan, as without her killing the Baiyujing leader, he wouldn't have been able to possess the leader's body so quickly. But gratitude aside, who exactly was he? The man introduced himself as the embodiment of 1,000 years of fortune, gathered from the spiritual energy of Mount Yui, hence the name Qian Shan Yui. Qian Fan realized this was the fortune she needed to absorb. While spiritual energy in this form was easier to absorb, how was she supposed to handle a naked man? Though Qian Fan's goal was to claim his spiritual energy, the 1,000-year fortune's incarnation was no pushover. He sensed that while Qian Fan was the human emperor, she didn't carry the aura of the human emperor's seal, which could suppress him. The fortune carried by the human emperor was something everyone coveted. If he could claim it all, he would be invincible. Qian Shan Yui unleashed an endless barrage of swords. The sudden attack forced Qian Fan into a desperate retreat. His flawless control over spiritual energy, turning it into swords, put even more pressure on Qian Fan than the crazed Baiyujing leader. His mastery over spiritual energy was so profound he could even create black holes in his palms. Such power, beyond any known realm, left Qian Fan with no choice but to evade. Was there truly no weakness in this 1,000-year fortune? Wait, you said? You're the fortune? What people fear most isn't a fair fight, but when their opponent has the perfect counter to their abilities. Qian Fan threw her spear, which Qian Shan-Yui casually blocked. Seeing the human emperor's limited strength, Qian Shan-Yui grew even more arrogant. It seemed both preferred ranged attacks, so why not have a proper duel? He unleashed his vast spiritual energy, intent on showcasing his overwhelming power. Qian Fan sidestepped to avoid his attacks, but everything was under Qian Shan-Yui's control. Qian Fan backflipped to dodge, but a stone pillar suddenly appeared, striking her spine. Vines of spiritual energy followed, quickly surrounding and binding her. Qian Shan-Yui urged her to give up, warning that the more she struggled, the more painful her death would be. If she surrendered her fortune, he would make it quick. In history, how terrifying is the release of 1,000 years of spiritual energy? He started with a massive attack, with no cooldown. This carpet bombing of spiritual energy forced Qian Fan into a frantic retreat. Her close combat spear techniques were useless here, but even in this dire situation, there was still a glimmer of hope. Although the opponent was the embodiment of 1,000 years of fortune, when it comes to dealing with fortune, who's the expert? That would be me. Isn't it the human emperor herself? Although Qian Shan-Yui was wary of Qian Fan's status as the human emperor, she didn't have the human emperor's seal to suppress him, and the vast fortune of the human emperor was highly tempting to him. Since the human emperor hadn't fully grown yet, eliminating her now would make him invincible. His supreme control over spiritual energy made him overconfident. He wanted to show the young human emperor the vast gap in their strength, but he had to admit, the human emperor had some skills. Despite the huge gap in cultivation, she still displayed such graceful movements, but this was as far as she could go. A stone pillar suddenly rose, striking Qian Fan's back midair, leaving her unable to dodge. With this blow, Qian Fan could no longer evade his attacks, and was tightly bound by spiritual vines. It seemed the mantis stalking the cicada had reached its end. Qian Fan's human emperor fortune and life would now be claimed by Qian Shan-Yui. To lure Qian Shan-Yui closer, Qian Fan had gone to great lengths. Since he was so overconfident, she couldn't be blamed for using some tricks. Qian Shan-Yui paid the price for his carelessness. He had miscalculated, thinking she didn't have the human emperor's seal. But having existed for 1,000 years, how could he be suppressed by a mere 16-year-old girl? The human emperor's seal alone wasn't enough to fully suppress him. But what if the human emperor's spear was added to the mix? A flash of cold light, followed by a spear strike like a dragon's roar. The human emperor's spear pierced through Qian Shan-Yui's chest. Now, even if he wanted to escape the human emperor's seal, it was impossible. Having cultivated for 1,000 years to gain sentience and human form, he was now completely suppressed by Qian Fan due to his greed and arrogance. Truly, 1,000 years of cultivation unnoticed, one moment of arrogance known to all. No matter how unwilling he was, he had to face the consequences. Having obtained the hardest to acquire fortune in history, Qian Fan breathed a sigh of relief. She hadn't let Master Chunyi down this time. The task of collecting fortune was finally complete. The fortune she had worked so hard to collect tasted especially sweet. As Qian Fan began to meditate, Master Chenyi suddenly felt he had forgotten something. It was the system, Little Sure, who had completed the 2.0 version update. A few days ago, it was said the update would take 2 days, but now it had ballooned like it had been home for the Spring Festival. Chenyi didn't care about energy-saving modes. With a flick of his finger, he restored it to its original. Chenyi asked if the updated system had any information about the time travelers from other realms, but the reliable Little Sure still had no leads on that front. However, she had unlocked some new related tasks. One of these tasks excited Little Sure, because this task required Chenyi to take on another disciple, besides Qianfan. I bet. In the Dao Palace's training room, Chenyi saw Ji Qianfan playing with her fingers. Qianfan explained she was counting how many fortunes she had absorbed. She clearly remembered Chenyi saying there were 7 in total, but she had only absorbed 6. Where was the last one? Chenyi said the last one was in a place familiar to Qianfan. After some thought, Qianfan realized there was only one place she knew well, her hometown, the Xinyuan Imperial Palace. The master and disciple arrived above the palace. The current emperor and Qianfan's mother had been waiting for some time. Though Qianfan was the ruler of the human emperor realm, she didn't put on any airs. She affectionately called them father and mother. But the emperor dared not slight the absolute ruler. Seeing the human emperor, he had to kneel in respect. This shocked Qianfan. How could parents kneel to their child? She quickly asked them to rise. Her father apologized for his past neglect. The imperial physician he had taken into his harem had nearly ruined a generation's human emperor. If not for his poor judgment, Qianfan wouldn't have suffered so much. The emperor had also heard of Qianfan's mysterious master. He thanked Chenyi for his role in Qianfan's rebirth, but Little Sure wasn't impressed. The emperor had been far too negligent. Chenyi gave a polite but insincere smile. Of course, I'll protect my disciple, unlike someone. After Qianfan caught up with her mother, her father straightforwardly said he knew what Qianfan was missing. Family members could take what belonged to the family, the Xinyuan Imperial Court's fortune. Qianfan could take it whenever she wanted. Moreover, he would make a decision that pleased the people in front of his ministers. In 3 days, he would hold a coronation ceremony to pass the throne to his 9th daughter, Ji Qianfan. Qianfan, who had never thought of becoming emperor, was shocked. She hadn't considered the responsibilities of ruling a nation. Grandpa Feng, who had always doted on her, said there was plenty of time. After all, Qianfan was still young and could learn the ways of an emperor gradually. The throne wasn't meant to bind her. It was to let Qianfan take this as the first step to becoming emperor. As for governing the country after the coronation, Qianfan could continue her cultivation. Her father would handle the rest. Qianfan glanced at Chenyi for guidance. But Chenyi couldn't take away her autonomy in everything. From now on, matters of the human emperor realm would be her responsibility. Starting today, she would make her own decisions. Hearing this, Qianfan no longer hesitated. Since it was the will of the people, she accepted the responsibility. She agreed to inherit the throne. This was a small step for Qianfan, but a giant leap for the human emperor realm's journey into the heavens. Looking at the little girl, who had once been hunted with broken meridians, now grown into the pillar of the human emperor realm, Little Sure and Chenyi realized their mission in the human emperor realm was complete. Though it was hard to part, it was time to move on to the next world. But now was a happy time for Qianfan. Chenyi would find the right moment to tell her about their departure. Little Sure noticed Chenyi seemed down. She thought he was reluctant to leave Qianfan. Chenyi denied it. All gatherings must come to an end. He just didn't like goodbyes. Little Sure teased him. No wonder you can't find a Dao companion. I notice you've become more talkative after the upgrade. Even without Chenyi, Qianfan would have become the human emperor. He had merely accelerated the process. But what was interesting was fighting against things that shouldn't exist in history and forming bonds along the way, leaving a mark in the endless river of time. To be honest, he was very much looking forward to the journey ahead. In history, according to the flow of history, she shouldn't have become emperor in her teens. But a few months ago, she met her mysterious master, Chenyi. He had saved her at her most desperate moment. Who would have thought this towering figure would completely alter the course of her destiny? Taking her as a disciple, training in ancient ruins, inheriting the human emperor's legacy, slaying demons, eradicating foreign races, reclaiming fortune. All of it was tied to her revered and beloved master, Chenyi. After reuniting with her parents 2 days ago and being offered the throne, the hardships she had endured finally paid off. Perhaps due to all the joyous events, she had neglected Master Chenyi. He sat alone on the roof tiles, drinking in solitude. His lonely figure contrasted sharply with the bustling town preparing for the coronation. It seemed out of place. Gazing at this almost otherworldly figure, Qian Fan felt a wave of nostalgia. Chen Yi thought if he didn't invite her to sit, she might spend the whole night hiding and waiting. He invited her to come over and chat. Chen Yi, who usually spoke sparingly, complimented Qian Fan on her. Chen Yi was curious. With the coronation tomorrow, why wasn't Qian Fan resting early? Qian Fan replied that she had been too busy lately. Now that she had some free time, she wanted to spend it with Chen Yi. Chen Yi patted the head of his excellent and thoughtful disciple, rarely praising her. After all, in the vast heavens, few of her peers could compare to her. Hearing Chen Yi's heartfelt praise, Qian Fan felt a bit uncomfortable. Was this gentle master really real? As Qian Fan's thoughts wandered, Chen Yi suddenly called her name. He said she had grown strong enough to face everything in the human emperor realm, and now, it was time for him to leave. This sudden news left Qian Fan at a loss. She had known this day would come when she learned Chen Yi wasn't from this world, but she hadn't expected it to come so soon. Yet, the ever-resilient Qian Fan quickly held back her tears. She asked when Chen Yi would leave, so she could see him off. Chen Yi said it would be in the next couple of days. Realizing their time together was shorter than expected, Qian Fan grew even more reluctant to part. She still had many questions for Chen Yi. Couldn't he stay a little longer? Chen Yi knew she was reluctant to let him go, but he couldn't let the human emperor grow in a sheltered environment. There were many things Chen Yi could teach her, but Qian Fan's path was hers to. Qian Fan understood, but the sadness was hard to suppress. Chen Yi comforted her, saying that when Qian Fan stepped into the heavens, they would meet again. Though she knew it was true, the sorrow was still hard to bear. They will meet again. Since departure is inevitable, Qian Fan has to consider how to ease this longing. In that case, she wants to ask Chen Yi, at the end of this encounter, before the next reunion, could he hold her one more time? You will know. You will know you're reborn. You all revive. Must be ragged, but I stay by now. Even if my body's bleached to the bones, I don't want to go through that again. Seeing her beloved disciple take the first step as the human emperor, Chen Yi felt a sense of closure before leaving. The system noticed Chen Yi's expression was somewhat blank. It suggested that if he was worried, he could take Qian Fan with him. But knowing Qian Fan had her own path to follow, Chen Yi couldn't interfere too much. Meeting again would only make parting harder, so it was better to leave quietly, without making the girl cry again. Qian Fan, having just been appointed as the next Yellow Emperor, was overwhelmed by the mountain of duties on her young shoulders. Realizing how much an emperor had to deal with daily, Qian Fan was momentarily stunned by the situation. Since learning the ways of an emperor was a long process, she decided to postpone the duties for later. Qian Fan ran off towards her palace. She thought she had escaped just in time. Otherwise, by the time she finished the pile of duties, her master Chen Yi would have grown mushrooms waiting. But her master was no longer in the room. Only a few gifts. Qian Fan realized her master had left quietly. She opened the letter left for her. Seeing the words is like seeing me. It detailed the use of several magical tools. But rather than entrusting her longing to these tools, Qian Fan wanted to see her master in person. Returning to the place where she first met Qian Fan, Chen Yi unexpectedly chose to leave from there. Although he could cross worlds with a snap of his fingers, Chen Yi had the system set up a teleportation array. The system didn't understand why Chen Yi was being so sentimental, as he was usually efficiency-driven. Puzzled, the system began to prepare the array. While Chen Yi stood aside, deep in thought, he sighed deeply. Even planting a tree leaves one with feelings, let alone interacting with a living person. But the time had come, and the array was ready. Pressing the erase button, he wondered how long it would be before they met again. Chen Yi silently pressed the button, but a voice called out from behind. It was Qian Fan, rushing to catch up. Seeing the array had already activated, she had to be brief. She asked the question she cared about most. Would they meet again? Chen Yi laughed and scolded, saying he wasn't dead. When Qian Fan reached the heavenly realm and stepped into the myriad worlds, they would naturally meet again. Look closely. This young girl's hands and feet are shackled. Her lifeless eyes gaze at the woman entering the room. The woman murmurs, "My little treasure," flirtatiously approaching the white-haired girl. She had enjoyed many girls from the demon realm, but none compared to the beauty of this white-haired girl. But this delicate flower could only be plucked tomorrow, on her coming-of-age day, after years of nurturing with precious elixirs. The woman wasn't just after her body. She had slaughtered the girl's entire clan. To obtain this girl with a pure Yin constitution, to absorb her energy for cultivation, She had tormented the girl for 8 years, reducing her to a lifeless puppet. With only one night left to wait, the woman came to warn her as usual. She was confident the girl wouldn't dare to act out. But unforeseen events occurred. An unprecedented phenomenon appeared in the demon realm. A golden light filled the air, blowing away trees for miles around. Demonic beasts gathered to witness the spectacle, but fled in terror when a human figure appeared. It was none other than Chunyi. He immediately asked where his new disciple, Su Changqing, was. The system displayed Su Changqing's tragic past. Her clan was annihilated due to her unique constitution, and she had suffered 8 years of torment under the sect leader. Compared to Qianfan's initial pursuit, her story was far more tragic. Even the system sighed at Su Changqing's suffering. As the system finished recounting her past, it noticed Chunyi had changed his hair to match Su Changqing's white locks. Chunyi explained it was the custom in the demon realm, the homeland of the white-haired demon ancestor. He was simply following. How could it not be suitable? The system, a devoted fan, thought Chunyi looked even more handsome. Moreover, the white hair might make Su Changqing feel more at ease. Was Chunyi planning to use a charm strategy this time? Finally, the second night arrived, and the entire sect was bustling with excitement. Tonight was the grand day for the sect leader to harvest the Purine girl. Just thinking about it made everyone drool with envy. But as they spoke, dark clouds gathered under the crescent moon. Suddenly, a thunderclap rang out. The blinding light made Su Changqing's face turn pale. The pain in her abdomen reminded her that the time had come. A hand impatiently pushed open the door. The sect leader strode to the bed, violently throwing the ripe fruit onto it. Then, she roughly pulled Su Changqing up by the ropes, venting her frustration from 8 long years of waiting. Even if the heavens intervened today, she was determined to drain this girl completely. Su Changqing, too, had long grown tired of her living nightmare. Joining her parents in death was her greatest wish. Perhaps her very existence was a mistake. Her entire clan had died because of her. What right did she have to ask for survival? Look closely. Su Changqing was violently thrown onto the bed by the sect leader. But what was about to happen was far from a romantic encounter. The sect leader yanked the chain around Su Changqing's neck, having waited 8 long years for this moment. The Purine body had finally bloomed, and she was ready to refine the lifeless girl into a cauldron. But then, something unexpected happened. The terrifying cloud dragon unleashed lightning that split the sky, blowing off the roof of the sect leader's chamber. The sect leader was furious who dared interrupt her at this moment, but what she saw was a colossal dragon blocking the sky. And it wasn't the true culprit. The one who truly wanted to interfere was the man standing on the dragon's head. Chunyi, the Tao sovereign. Having been a sect leader for so long, she knew when to back down. This man's aura was terrifying. He was no ordinary person. She had to submit, but Chunyi, having disrupted the sect leader's plans, was thinking of something else. He calmly asked the system, "Which one is Su Changqing?" Upon learning that the girl lying down was Su Changqing, Chunyi understood. Now that he knew who she was, let's take them both. Without wasting words, Chunyi picked up Su Changqing and left. In the shocked eyes of the sect's disciples, their sect leader had been kidnapped by an unknown powerhouse, and then, he was gone. But Su Changqing's condition was critical. Imprisoned for 8 years, she had no cultivation to protect her. Now that she had come of age, her Purine body had awakened. Without cultivation, she would eventually be corroded by an energy and die. Just as he found a new disciple, she was about to die. What should he do? No big deal. Don't panic. A mere fatal injury? Saving Su Changqing's life was easy. But if he blocked the awakening of her constitution to save her, she might never be able to cultivate in this lifetime. So the only option was, with that, Chunyi bit his finger, formed a hand seal, and chanted an incantation. The essence of the cycle of reincarnation slowly infused into Su Changqing's body. The pain, like being devoured by countless insects, made Su Changqing groan. The sect leader, seeing Chunyi performing some unknown Tao technique, assumed he was also after Su Changqing's Purine body. Even if her soul was damaged, she couldn't let Su Changqing fall into someone else's hands. She chanted a soul-binding spell, and the former sect leader's soul, which she had imprisoned, was spat out. The former sect leader cursed her for being dishonorable, having imprisoned his soul for so long, but she retorted that he was merely her puppet. As a tool, shouldn't he go and seize Su Changqing's soul? With that, the old man was forced to attempt an ambush on Chunyi. This startled the system. Chunyi, busy treating Su Changqing, ignored the old man. System, what are you waiting for? Huh? Chunyi wanted to see how the system would handle this situation. What method would it use to save its host? The sudden test left the system flustered. But the attack was already upon them. Since the opponent dared to test the system, it was time to teach them a lesson. She is Chen Ye's reliable system, Little Master. Since binding with the strongest being in the myriad realms, she had been slacking off, a system meant to protect and had no use due to Chen Ye's overwhelming strength. Now, the chance to shine had finally come. Chen Yi was busy healing Su Chongqing and couldn't deal with the enemy's attack. This was the perfect opportunity for her to show her skills. She pulled out a mysterious staff and began to chant with divine reverence. "O staff, hiding the power of the Holy Master, please reveal your true power before Little Master. Seal, release, incorrect password. Move forward as you feel." Reliable Little Master messed up at the critical moment again. No, how could the password be wrong? Let me try again. Dao Sovereign, you big jerk. After too many incorrect attempts, the system froze the ability permissions. Now what? The enemy is right in front of us. Of course, rush to Chen Yi for help. Seeing that Little Master was indeed unreliable, Chen Yi put on a stern face. He softly chanted the exorcism and immediately sealed the intruder. With the controlled soul sealed, the caster suffered a backlash. Little Master quickly praised Chen Yi for his omnipotence, truly worthy of him. But Chen Yi ignored the unreliable system, his face dark. He had important matters to attend to. No time for jokes. Su Chongqing's condition was critical. Although her pure Yin body was sealed, the residual energy had to be released, or her life would still be in danger. There's only one way. Chen Yi pulled the sect leader in front of him. He asked Su Chongqing, "Do you want to kill your enemy with your own hands?" Chen Yi gave her this opportunity. She still had years of accumulated resentment to vent. Now that her enemy was right in front of her, what was she waiting for? Chen Yi watched as she stepped toward the sect leader, ice crystals forming with each step. She never imagined she would have the chance to take revenge in this lifetime. The transition from hell to heaven left Su Chongqing dazed. Inhale. The sect leader, equally dazed, still thought about her cauldron. The cauldron she had worked so hard to cultivate now stood before her. But she began to feel fear. She screamed in panic, "Don't come any closer." The scene before her was incredibly ironic. The sect leader, like a dying dog, begged her own cauldron for mercy. Her previous arrogance and anger were thrown to the wind. But Su Chongqing would never forgive this woman. The pleas for mercy were cut short as she was frozen. The terrifying frost caused the temperature to plummet. Even Little Master struggled to endure it. This future disciple could freeze souls with a wave of her hand. It was said that at her peak, she could even freeze time. What a treasure she had found. Wait. The ability to freeze time. Chen Yi fell into deep thought. Su Chongqing, having just frozen the sect leader, formed an ice blade. She had to seize this once-in-a-lifetime chance for revenge. With a fierce swing of the ice blade, she shattered her enemy into pieces. Years of accumulated resentment were finally vented. Su Chongqing collapsed, freed from her burden, caught by a warm, steady hand. Seeing that the residual pure Yin energy had finally been released, Chen Yi felt relieved. Hidden mission triggered. Triggering a hidden mission so early made Little Master feel at ease. To prevent Su Chongqing from falling into demonic ways, Chen Yi had to keep working hard. Chen Yi picked up Su Chongqing and softly said to Little Master, "Find a secluded place to settle, so we can treat her injuries." Demonic thoughts, pure Yin body. Things are getting interesting. Who lost to the ice for saving? My sins claim me, untame me. The strongest master in history, Chen Yi, gave his future disciple a chance to take revenge with her own hands. Su Chongqing, having finally avenged her enemy, collapsed into a deep sleep. In her dreams, she saw the bloodied ruins of the Su family estate. The soldiers of the Qianyu sect were looting and killing. Their cruel methods were horrifying. Yu Tianyin, who treated lives as worthless, would stop at nothing to find the pure Yin body. Even Su Chongqing's mother fell victim to her cruelty. Su woke up from the nightmare. 8 years of trauma couldn't be erased by a single day of revenge. Upon waking, she didn't know where she was. This was the place Chen Yi had instructed Little Master to find for them to settle. Chen Yi sensed that Su had woken up and told her to put on the prepared clothes and come out to see him. The clothes prepared by the master were always of the finest quality. The snow white, long hair, the crystal clear, little face. The outfit was perfectly suited to her. Chen Yi smiled warmly and gestured for Su to sit down. As she sat, he discreetly put away the book in his hand. Are you feeling any discomfort? Chen Yi, in a rare moment of warmth, asked softly. Do you remember what happened before you were imprisoned by the Qianyu sect? Great, bringing up the worst topic. The high EQ master wondered aloud to Little Master. Why isn't Su saying anything? Little Master replied that the system showed Su's physical condition was normal. This left Chen Yi completely baffled. He decided to cut to the chase and ask Su directly, "Do you know why I saved you?" Hearing this, Su immediately tensed up. They were strangers to each other, and she could only think of one thing he might want from her. In front of Little Master's blushing face and Qian Ye's stunned expression, Su, her face slightly red, began to undo her sash, knowing that he valued her pure body. Su, ashamed and angry, covered her private parts. The only thing she could offer in return was her body. Su slowly leaned forward, collapsing into Qian Ye's arms. Despite the overwhelming shame, she had to endure it. She even began to undress Chunyi. Fortunately, Chunyi stopped her in time. "This won't pass the censors." Realizing her misunderstanding, Chunyi quickly told her to put her clothes back on. "I didn't save you for your purine body. You're a girl. You can't just undress in front of anyone in the future. Do you understand?" Hearing such caring words after so many years, Su's heart was filled with mixed emotions. Chunyi said that if she really wanted to repay him, she could become his disciple. Su, tears streaming down her face, murmured, "Become your disciple." Having not spoken to anyone for many years, Su stuttered, but she still managed to call out, "Master." Hearing Qian Ye's gentle words, "Take your time. No rush," Su couldn't hold back her gratitude any longer. As if pouring out years of pent-up grievances, she threw herself into Qian Ye's arms and wept uncontrollably. With this, the task of taking Su Changqing as a disciple was successfully completed. Having successfully taken the future demon ancestor Su Changqing as a disciple, the first step in this world was complete. Combined with the rewards accumulated from previous tasks, it was time for a 10 draw. When it came to draws, Little Master was wide awake. Chunyi had always been incredibly lucky with draws. Every single draw resulted in an SSR, so a 10 draw should. Nothing yet. Wait. Golden Legend. The luck of a true champion. Even the pity poll is golden. Feels like a worse deal than single draws. It was no wonder Little Master carefully retrieved the golden reward. The last golden reward attacking the host was still fresh in their minds. Thinking of this, Chunyi asked Little Master if they had drawn something similar. Little Master couldn't explain, because it really was that kind of thing. That rare kind, Scythe. Forget it. Let Chunyi see for himself. Little Master used all its strength to pull an egg-shaped object out of the void. Su Changqing, seeing this, stopped her cultivation and turned her attention to them. She wanted to ask Master Chunyi what was going on, but as soon as she spoke, the eggshell cracked open, revealing a delicate, beautiful face. Heaven-tier puppet, Fu Ling. Answering her master's call, she descended. A 10 draw resulted in a 3-no girl. No expression, no voice, no personality. Su Changqing examined the exquisite puppet from head to toe. This was a heaven-tier puppet with intelligence. Its strength would grow with its master's cultivation level. It could even transform into the appearance of any woman its master had seen. A heaven-tier puppet? Even Let's test her transformation ability. With that, Chunyi ordered Fu Ling to transform into Su Changqing's appearance. In the blink of an eye, a life-sized replica of Su Changqing was created. The resemblance was so striking that even Su Changqing herself was shocked. It wasn't just similar, it was identical. "Don't worry, it's just a transformation." Chunyi stroked a strand of the puppet's hair, sensing the aura it emitted after the transformation. "Not bad. It's not just imitating the appearance. It even replicated the abilities of the pure body. Too bad it can only be used at the heaven tier. Su Changqing can't use it yet." But Little Master had an idea. If the little disciple couldn't use it, why not give it to the senior disciple? Hearing this, Chunyi glanced at Little Master, making Little Master think it had said something wrong. "No, you're right. Let's give it to the senior disciple." With that, he began to draw a talisman. "Set my disciple, Ji Qianfan, as the second master. Go." "I heard this puppet can transform into any woman you know. Is that true?" As you might expect, Ji Qianfan also thought. She could use this ability to do things she normally wouldn't dare. The puppet given to her by her master whispered, "As long as you've seen them, I can mimic any female, not just humans." Touching the cold face, Qianfan pondered the implications of these words. Any female? So males too. More mischievous ideas popped into Qianfan's head, then transform into master. As soon as she spoke, the puppet Fu Ling began the transformation. The gender-swapped version of Master Chun Yi left Qianfan and Zijiao stunned. Originally, Master's ethereal demeanor had already caused quite a stir. Now, the magnitude was truly all-encompassing. With a wave of her sleeve, she embodied the universe. As expected of a heaven-tier puppet, it truly understood human desires. So it could only transform into girls, but this was still the master she had longed for. Without hesitation, she went in for a long-awaited righteous hug. Even as a girl, Master Chun-Yi is so beautiful, she sighed. Little did she know, her Master Chun-Yi had been watching this entire scene unfold. 3 purities, a miniature, heavenly thunder technique. Daring to mock her master for fun, Chen-Yi summoned a small bolt of heavenly thunder to punish Qin-Fan lightly. Fu Ling is a heaven-tier puppet. She will grow alongside you in the future. While I am in the Tianluo realm, she will supervise your cultivation in my place. Master Chan Ye's words came from the puppet Fu Ling's mouth. By the way, I recently took on a new disciple. If you don't cultivate diligently, you'll soon be surpassed by your junior sister. After delivering the message, Fu Ling reverted to her original appearance. Little Qianfan sat angrily in the ruins struck by the thunder. She had been diligently cultivating during Master Chun Ye's absence. Wait, no. Master said she took on a new disciple? With Master's guidance, her strength would surely skyrocket. This was unacceptable. Master's favorite disciple could only be her. Ji Qianfan. Little Qianfan loudly declared her status as the senior disciple. She would never admit defeat. Of course, this bold declaration was faithfully relayed back to Qinyi by Fu Ling. Sometime later, Chun-Yi and Su Chongqing arrived at Huayang City in the Demon Realm. The striking pair, with their white hair and handsome appearances, drew the attention of passers-by. These two seem different from the rest of us. Of course, I am Qinyi, the strongest Dao sovereign across the myriad realms. With some free time, I decided to take my socially anxious disciple out to see the world. The passers-by couldn't help but stop and stare at our striking appearances. Why do they look so different from us? Of course, if you had this kind of aura, you'd be the protagonist too. It's just that my new disciple, Su, is a bit shy under the gaze of strangers. Is it because of her inner demons? This child really tugs at the heartstrings. I think she's just socially anxious. Thinking about how this child had been isolated for so many years, she must lack a sense of security. As her master, it's my duty to take care of this poor little thing. Without hesitation, I took Su's hand in mine. Her face immediately flushed with color, though I'm not sure what she was thinking. If you're scared, just hold on to me. With this move, the worry on Su's face faded, and her eyes sparkled. She softly replied. But her constant staring made the passers-by think we were a couple. It was a bit embarrassing. Little Master thought to herself that even Qianfan hadn't received such treatment. I must be biased. But then, a hidden mission was triggered. It required helping little Su take on some disciples. The more disciples Su took, the greater the rewards. Taking disciples wasn't hard, but how do you get a socially anxious person to take disciples? This is troubling. The strongest Dao sovereign in history, Qinyi, was actually troubled. The hidden mission he just accepted required him to help his disciple take on disciples. Taking on disciples wasn't a problem, but his disciple was a socially anxious little thing. How to help the socially anxious Su take on disciples? This matter indeed required careful planning. Here they come. Just as Chun-Yi was pondering, the crowd nearby erupted in excitement and gathered around. What was causing such a commotion? Moving closer to see, a pair of handsome men and beautiful women walked through the crowd. Gui Wehan and Li Changsheng were the current saintess and Dao child. Their fame was known throughout the land. And behind the Dao child was the Golden Spear King, Chai Shan. The camera didn't even give him a proper shot. Oh well, he's not important. Even though these three were surrounded by adoring crowds, they still couldn't catch the eye of our Dao sovereign. A mid-stage divine soul and an early-stage divine soul? Is this the extent of the geniuses in the Tianluo realm? Just as he was about to criticize further, a chubby little boy approached Chen-Yi. Seeing the extraordinary aura of Chen-Yi and his disciple, he invited Chen-Yi to an auction hosted by their Yunlong Merchant Guild. The auction would feature various unidentified treasures. Even the saintess and Dao child would attend. Chen-Yi had been wondering what treasures to get for Su. This was perfect timing. How does the strongest Dao sovereign spend his money? Chen-Yi and Su were invited to the auction. The elite, whom ordinary people rarely saw, were all gathered here. The savvy manager arranged for the master and disciple to sit in a private room. Chen-Yi was curious. He hadn't revealed his strength, so how did the manager know they deserved a private room? The manager replied that after 20 years in the business, he had developed a keen eye. He introduced himself as Lin Yi. With 20 years of experience, he had a sharp eye for talent. He could tell at a glance that these two would become big spenders. Oh? Lin Yi? No wonder. He's got the two most common surnames for web novel protagonists. Good thing he's not the main character. After settling into the private room, Su remembered they were supposed to go to the Great Luo Mountains. Chen-Yi closed his eyes and replied, the thing in the Great Luo Mountains hasn't awakened yet. The little trinkets from the draws aren't useful to you. So we'll try our luck at the auction first. Draws? What are those? It's no wonder Su was confused. Only Chen-Yi could see the system. As they were chatting, the auctioneer's voice suddenly echoed through the auction hall. The first item up for auction was the Snow Spirit Ginseng. The crowd started bidding at 1,500 spirit stones, slowly raising the price to 2,000 spirit stones. The saintess at the front couldn't hold back her desire to bid. Cloaked figure hidden in the crowd listened to the rising bids. Oh, it's a new character, Xiao Nan. The spirit artifact in her right middle finger was quietly transmitting messages to her, urging her to secure this spirit ginseng. Xiao Nan impatiently brushed it off, saying, I know. Then, amidst the bids of 2,000 and 3,000 spirit stones, she confidently bid 5,000, outbidding everyone. Wow, a little rich girl. The auctioneer's voice grew more excited. Any higher bids? Then, a voice called out, 6,000, instantly crushing Xiao Nan's triumphant expression. It was the saintess herself, stepping in to outbid her. Anyone with sense wouldn't offend the saintess over a mere spirit ginseng. Damn it! Xiao Nan couldn't help but curse under her breath. How dare she show off like this? Once she reached the heavenly realm, she'd make the saintess pay for this. In this small auction hall, there wasn't just a mantis and a cicada, but also Chen Yi, an overqualified eagle, watching intently. Su said she wanted that ginseng, but she didn't know how much to bid. Whatever, just make sure you get it. Su glanced at the bidding paddle. Whatever, then, let's just bid. 100,000 spirit stones. What's it like to spin the price of a house on a bicycle? The pink-haired cutie Xiao and thought she had it in the bag, bidding 5,000 spirit stones, double the usual price, to secure the spirit herb. The herb was good, but the powerful didn't care about its actual use. The esteemed saintess outbid Xiao Nan with 6,000 spirit stones, becoming the center of attention. This made Xiao Nan grit her teeth in frustration, but there was nothing she could do. Xiao Nan, aiming to reach the heavenly realm, had to keep a low profile. Offending a major power now would be unwise, so she quietly backed down. The saintess was basking in the limelight. But Chen Yi and Su were completely out of the loop. The spirit herb was of the Yin attribute, perfectly suited for Su's pure Yin body. But how much would Su, who had no concept of money, bid? Just make sure you get it? So how much would that take? 100,000 spirit stones. Surely 100,000 spirit stones would be enough, right? This bid left the auctioneer speechless. Such a leap in bidding had never occurred in his career. He repeated, 100,000 spirit stones, echoing through the auction hall. This young lady bids 100,000 spirit stones. The term wealthy couldn't even begin to describe Su in the eyes of the crowd. Not only did she bid an astronomical amount, but she also publicly humiliated the saintess. The Tao child wanted to test who this girl was, but the saintess calmly stopped him. She didn't want to lose her composure over such a trivial matter. The pink-haired girl thought, oh, a little rich girl no one's heard of? After the auction, she could quietly rob her, right? With a final hammer strike, the auctioneer happily declared the spirit herb belonged to Su. Feeling the crowd's fervent admiration, Su thought she had made a huge mistake and quickly asked Chen Yi. But Chen Yi remained calm and unfazed by the price. A single item from Chen Ye's collection could buy the entire Tianluo realm. It's fine. Just bid on whatever you like. Press harder. This last part was directed at Little Master, who was giving him a massage. Press harder. Does Master think the price is too low? No, I can't embarrass our master. But Chen Yi didn't look annoyed. Instead, he seemed quite pleased. He realized that in this small auction, he had encountered two other transmigrators. Choosing not to go to the Great Luo Mountains early was the right decision. Back in the now lively auction hall, the auctioneer, having regained his composure, began the next item. Next up, the skeleton of a divine soul realm beast. The auctioneer cleared his throat, ready to use his dazzling auctioneering skills to drive up the price. But after just 2 sentences, that familiar, crisp voice rang out again. 1 million. Did I hear that right? 1 million. Hearing her beloved disciple bid 1 million for a mere beast skeleton, not only did the auctioneer think he was hallucinating, but the saintess and Tao child's jaws nearly hit the floor. 1 million spirit stones could fund their respective sects for a year. They had thought this girl was just rich and foolish, but now they realized how terrifying she was. Bids couldn't be retracted, and if she couldn't pay, the consequences would be dire. The auctioneer, still in shock, hesitated. Su timidly asked, is 1 million not enough? Yes. Of course. Who would turn down money? The auctioneer quickly began the count. 1 million, going once, but everyone in the room knew there would be no second or third bid. Except for this girl, who looked like she had just struck gold. Even the wealthiest families wouldn't dare spend like her. How many zeros are in 1 million again? Even Little Master felt a bit uneasy hearing this bid, but Chen Yi didn't care at all. It's fine, let her have her fun. Scenes that would shock the auctioneer for a lifetime continued to unfold. Every subsequent item was won by Su with a bid of 1 million, leaving the entire audience in awe. Goodness, the commission from this auction alone would last him several lifetimes. I told you to bid, not to shout yourself hoarse. After finishing her bidding spree, Su grabbed a water bottle and gulped it down. Meanwhile, manager Lin Yi nervously entered, reminding them it was time to pay. Chun Ye's brow furrowed slightly. He nodded in acknowledgement. With an expressionless face, he led Su to the stage to settle the payment. The audience buzzed with speculation about the white-haired duo, who resembled members of a demonic cult. This was going to be interesting. The girl had bid 1 million for every item. If she couldn't pay up in public, she'd be in big trouble. A total of 64 items, amounting to 63.1 million spirit stones. The auctioneer asked Chun Yi how they planned to pay this astronomical sum. I don't have spirit stones. The moment these words were spoken, the room erupted in chaos. People began to angrily accuse Chen Yi and Su of causing trouble. The pink-haired Xiaonan sat back, enjoying the drama. Did these two not know the auction house was backed by the Heavenly Realm's South Sea Sword Saint? How bold! What happened next made her hair stand on end. The man on stage suddenly locked eyes with her. This sent a wave of panic through Xiaonan. The auctioneer, hearing that they had no spirit stones, immediately turned grim. He had doubted their financial capability, but now he had to follow protocol and detain them. Hearing that Chen Yi might be taken, Su couldn't hold back. She quickly pulled out her weapon to protect her master. Chen Yi found her reaction amusing. He placed a hand on Su's shoulder, shielding her. Who said you can't pay without spirit stones? Chen Yi indeed had no spirit stones such mundane, but what if he used a treasure of equal value instead? The strongest Dao sovereign in history bought out the entire auction and didn't pay? His top disciples' bids were equivalent to a top sect's annual revenue. The auctioneer thought he could retire after this. But when it came time to pay, he eagerly approached, only for the man to say he had no spirit stones to pay with. This can't be right. The onlookers, who had been outbid earlier, immediately began to mock them. Seeing that punishing these arrogant two was necessary to maintain the auction house's dignity, the auctioneer ordered Chen Yi to be detained. I'm done playing this game. Seeing the auctioneer's panic, Chen Yi got straight to the point. He truly had no spirit stones, such mundane items were beneath him. But the auctioneer had mentioned that equivalent treasures could be used as payment. Chen Yi wasn't worried about being unable to pay. If he paid, these people might not even have enough change. A radiant light burst forth from the treasure in Chen Yi's hand. The overwhelming pressure that followed was so intense that even Xiaonan couldn't bear to look. There was no doubt this was the aura of a heavenly realm expert. The treasure's light shot into the sky, drawing the attention of all heavenly realm experts in the Tianluo realm. Ordinary onlookers were stunned by the sudden phenomenon, wondering what had happened at the Tianlong auction house. Meanwhile, Chun Yi casually tossed the treasure aside, nearly giving the auctioneer a heart attack. Just to praise its value. Keep the change. The carefree Dao sovereign handed a storage ring to Su, instructing her to collect the auctioned items. Then he turned and walked away. The auctioneer, however, was far from as composed as Chen Yi. He lunged to catch the treasure Chen Yi had casually tossed, cradling the heavenly spirit pearl like a precious gem. Is this heavenly spirit pearl really that valuable? It's not just valuable. This heavenly spirit pearl can block a full power strike from a heavenly realm expert. The heavenly Dao essence within it, if comprehended, can elevate anyone to the heavenly realm. This wasn't just valuable, it was extremely valuable. Realizing the man was someone of immense importance, the auctioneer quickly prepared to report this major event to headquarters. Xiaonan, watching from the sidelines, also sensed trouble. That feeling of being watched, her hair standing on end, was it from this man? Had she been targeted? Whether she was or not, the appearance of a fifth heavenly realm expert in the Tianluo realm was a big deal. His mere presence had made her, the self-proclaimed chaos demon king of her past life, tremble in fear. No, once her legs stopped shaking, she had to get out of here immediately. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Su continued her diligent cultivation. Poor little master, sent away by Chen Yi, was sneezing while supervising Su's training in the pure in-body technique. Wait, why would the upright Chen Yi send little master away? Was he up to something shady? Let's open the door and see what our master is up to. What's it like to be targeted by the strongest Dao sovereign in history? The pink-haired cutie felt her luck had taken a nosedive recently. As a transmigrator, with her past life's cultivation experience and knowledge, she thought she could start with a golden spiritual sea, amass mountains of wealth, reach the pinnacle of cultivation, and ascend to the peak of immortality. But she never expected to run into Chen Yi, this troublemaker. Since his appearance, her luck had plummeted. Not only did she constantly feel like she was being watched, but the spirit herbs she wanted to bid on were also snatched away. Now she was forced to forage in the wild for food. It was like bad luck had come knocking on her door, and it didn't end there. She was currently in the Tianluo Mountains,